of Energy Cabinet Secretary Davis Chilcher witnessing the signing of the last mile electricity connectivity contract between Kenya Power CEO Joseph Siror and Singh Vinod Kumar from MS East India. Looking on is European Investment Bank's Johan Wilken at the State House that will be yesterday. Well, the event was hosted by President William RUTO. We're going to read that story right here on the Standard. Also, conversations on the one vote, 1 shilling by the people of Mountain is a cry for equality and equity in resource allocation. That story has been covered on page 10. And battle for Mount Kenya rages on as President Mena take on Gachagua. Story has been covered on page 4 this morning. That story of Mbappe has been covered on the back page. And I'm sorry, I announced that we don't have Man United news here. We do have it. Back page again. Man United stars pledged to do greater things. Which ones? Ooh. Which greater things? Here, this is what they're saying. It was a further reminder that with your support behind us and the United badge on our chests, we can achieve great things. Manchester United first team. How? Yeah, picture there with the FA Cup that Arsenal has won 14 times. They've won it 13 times. Yeah. All right, you can read that story if you have some time to waste this morning on this particular daily. Not so much. There is a story is also on our ODM in a fresh bid to consolidate Nyanza block as UDF threatens. Those are the thing that we're talking about here, and also the faces behind Gachagua wars. The RUTO allies go bare knuckle. We'll talk about that this morning. Good. Daily Nation. This is what I got. Intern teachers win fight for higher pay. Now, 26,000 tutors hired in January last year to teach in public junior secondary schools can now end their ongoing strike and go back to class after the House of Education Committee intervened to have TAC allocate 8.3 billion to convert them to permanent and pensionable terms with a hefty pay rise, allowances and benefits to boot. Sorry, has been covered on page 2 and 3. 26,000 to be specific, by the way. Good for them. All right, state works back on its plan to end school feeding scheme. Story has been covered on page 2 and 3. Why NTIC wants new names for 10 counties. Story has been covered on page 12. Supremacy contests rock regions in UDA grassroots elections. Page 4 and 5. And trucks, buses forced to use toll expressway. Nairobi Mombasa fares transport costs to rise. All right. After it's done, because we signed for it, 417 billion to be exact. The 400 kilometers from here to Mombasa, so about $1 billion each kilometer. $1 billion. If it translates to that, it's gotta buy land and expand that road. On the back page, high-speed road to raise bus fare cost and transport of goods. Yes. That is the same story that has been covered right there. And also 270,000 homes to get electricity connection in state Saudi government partnership. That is a story that has also been covered on our website on www.lookuptv.co.ke. Local news on sports, good stories here. On Leopards out of the way, police now train guns on KCB in final. You can read that story right here on the Daily Nation. That's it. Before we sign out, to what cost Henken 1.8 billion shillings in row with that tycoon. That story has been covered on Business Daily, and TAK seeking powers to auction farms over unpaid fines. That's it. Majority of this story is www.lookuptv.co.ke. They've been covered right there on the social media platforms at Lookuptv across all of them. Let's jump directly into our newsroom where we get to look at some of the biggest stories that you are also waking up to this morning. Good morning. National Assembly Education Committee Chairperson Julius Meli has revealed that the proposed junior secondary school JSS teaching interns are set to receive confirmation on a permanent and pensionable terms earlier than anticipated, disclosing that the confirmation is now slated for the beginning of next financial year, commencing on July 1st, 2024.
Maybe from below 2000 up to maybe 2015, just come up with an affirmative action that among teachers that are going to be employed, let us take that category because they will reach the retirement age before they're employed.
What is the cost for hiring on permanent and pensionable all the 46,000 JSS and other interns and bringing back time from January 2025 to July 2024. We'd want you to give us the cost.
Budget and Appropriations Committee members, however, sought to understand how much it will cost to hire all the 46,000 junior secondary school teaching interns on permanent pensionable terms, including the capitation for backdating of employment date from January 1st, 2025 to July 1st, 2024, as well as how much it will be needed to cater for the school feeding program, without considering the supplementary budget, as well as what exactly has been allocated for renovations of schools affected by the heavy rains that wreaked havoc across some parts of the country.
I also want to commend you because the decision you made on employing the GSS just before December will be a very good thing rather than next year.
In their presentation, Teacher Service Commission had indicated to us that the interns will be converted into permanent and pensionable in January next year, which actually we felt as a committee, if the financial year begins in July.
MP Meli said the parliament has further instated a school feeding program for learners across public institutions in the country, insisting that at least 28 billion shillings will be required to hire 46,000 teachers on P&P, with the government providing 8.3 billion shillings which will cater for 20,000 teachers, with further 4.7 billion set aside for hiring more teaching interns, even though members felt that hiring of interns ought to be scrapped off with all the allocations channeled to hire more teachers.
Probably this amount we have allocated for hiring an additional intern teachers, collapse it to permanent and pensionable and absorb teachers within that permanent and pensionable, because there's a case in court by the teacher union against employment of interns.
Capitation. Capitation is a problem at all levels, all the way from primary school, secondary school, and it is a matter, Mr. Chairman, you need to help this country.
Meli says the government will need at least 5 billion shillings to cater for the feeding program for learners for the whole academic year, with only 2 billion allocated so far, revealing that the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics is currently undertaking census to identify the exact number of learners in the country for proper planning and resource allocation.
School feeding, the balance is 3 billion. We require that. On the issue of floods, it is very there, honorable members, and the supplementary budget, we requested 500 million because it is covering a duration of 1 month and for those schools.
One, you had indicated that you have areas, gray areas, in secondary school infrastructure improvement. I really would like to know those gray areas.
Can you confirm what the status is from the operationalization money for 2023-24?
Statistics is now undertaking a national education census to ascertain how many students are in school. All this is to rationalize funding on capitation.
Stanley Lugaria, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
Nairobi County has been forced to suspend several projects after the additional budget for the year 2023-2024 was cut. Despite the cut, Nairobi will continue with key manifesto projects of Governor Sakaja, including dish in a county, roads construction, and disaster mitigation. Let's take a look.
Amid tough economic times, the Nairobi City County has been forced to halt some of its development projects, with various departments having their development budgets reduced. if the approved supplementary budget estimates for the financial year 2023-2024 is anything to go by. Among the worst hit by the reductions is the allocations to the works and mobility, a move that has seen its development budget reduced by 1.5 billion shillings to 1.73 billion. In context, the reduction has seen the scrapping of individual ward projects that would have been expensive to tender. However, the allocation for purchase of materials has been enhanced to ensure internal engineers have the required resources to complete the projects in a cost-effective manner. The County Assembly budget has been reduced by 915 million shillings following the agreement with the county government to provide a land for the construction of an administration block, thereby scrapping budgetary allocations for the acquisition of land and other costs. In the supplementary estimates, crucial and more pressing county needs like the disaster and emergency response will reap big from the reductions under the boroughs and public administration. Top among them, the reduction in allocation for governor's residence, which has been reduced by 190 million shillings. The reduction in the allocation for borough offices was based on a projected absorption rate, and an additional 300 million shillings has been provided in the coming financial year. However, the project's allocation for the sectors on health, talent and that of business were meant to align the budget and realities around budget utilization and absorption. That has been cured by revamping the allocation for the health to 1 billion shillings, the talent sector to 1.4 billion shillings, and for businesses to 1.2 billion shillings in the next financial year, in a bid to ensure the projects affected by the supplementary budget are fully implemented as initially planned. The development budgets for the County Public Service Board and the Nairobi Revenue Authority have been scrapped as the sectors could not be able to absorb the funds within the current financial year. These allocations have been carried forward to the next financial year, with purchase of revenue mobilization vehicles under the authority allocated 100 million shillings. The budget for the public service management has been reduced by 10 million shillings for the sector to launch the project, with additional 30 million provided in the budget for the coming financial year. On the other hand, the total completion certificates raised for the ward development program, as at the time of considering the supplementary estimates, stood at 600 million shillings, with an additional 600 million expected by the end of the financial year. The allocation of 1.3 billion for the ward development program was hence sufficient to take care of the completed works by the end of the financial year. The development budget for the environment subsector has been increased as a contribution to tackle the flooding by investing in more garbage collection, clearing of drainages, and provision of more water tanks, as well as improvement of the dam site. Ian Keitani, Lookuptv.
Residents of Melon Market in Chesikaki ward in Bungoma County were left in shock after a young girl was allegedly assisted to terminate her pregnancy by a pharmacy attendant earlier yesterday before dumping the newborn baby in a toilet while still alive. As Majid Hussaina reports, the mob rescued the baby to the nearest hospital.
Early Monday morning, residents of Chesikaki ward in Bungoma woke up to a tragic incident. Angry residents are seen rescuing a baby who was dumped inside a toilet, a situation that has shocked many. The angry residents, in cooperation with the police, were able to rescue a child who was rushed to hospital in Cheptais for emergency treatment.
Sisi kama viongozi hapa Chesikaki, sisi hatutakubali hiyo tabia ambayo inafanyika hapa eneo la Chesikaki. Hilo tendo ni mbaya sana.
Additionally, they have called on the police to do a detailed investigation to resolve the puzzle. After allegations emerged, it may be that the girl received treatment in one clinic in the area who helped her to get rid of the baby.
Kwamba waje tufuatilie haki. Hii imetendeka kwa sababu gani? Na ilianzia wapi? Ndio inakuja kumalizikia hapo. Tumezungumza na mama mzazi wa msichana. Anasema msichana aligonjeka akitoka Nairobi. Na alipofika hapa uchungu ikazidi akapelekwa Tuiku dispensary.
The investigation has been started with the chief of Chesikaki, Maurice Wetala, confirming the incident and indicated that one of the suspects is being detained in Chesikaki police station while the main suspect continue to be searched.
Na kushirikiana na wananchi tumepata mtoto huyu akiwa hai, tumemkimbiza kwa hospitali apate matibabu. Mtoto huyo inasemekana ni wa miezi 7. Pia tulipata pia mama ya mtoto ambaye alikuwa ameavya mimba, na pia tukampeleka katika hospitali ya Spikers Cheptais. Kwa hivyo nikiwa chifu eneo hili, ningependa kutahadharisha hasa wa mama na wasichana ambao wanahuruka za kubeba mimba na kutoa kwamba hawana nafasi katika sehemu hii.
Majid Hussein, Lookuptv.
4 people, including a Form 2 student, were shot by Kenya Wildlife Services officers in Barut, Nakuru County during a crackdown on suspected illegal fishing activities in Lake Nakuru. The incident has led to protests, with locals calling for the arrest and prosecution of officers accused of conducting a violent raid in the area.
Beatrice Adhiambo, the mother of 15-year-old Barack Obama, says that his son was outside when the officers arrived in 2 Land Cruisers.
Kijana wangu alikuwa amekaa hapo kwa mawe hapo nje. Kukaa nje, akaona kama sasa huyu polisi yani sasa amejikaza kupiga risasi kabisa. Akaruka kutoka huko, akakuja huko. Sasa alikuwa ananikujia huko, ndiye alikuja ingie kwa ploti. Kuingia kwa ploti kufika kwa gate hivi ndiye akapigwa risasi.
Obed Luka, who spoke from his hospital bed, says he was chatting with his friends outside the gate at around 6 p.m. when he saw 2 Land Cruisers approaching. He said they stepped back only to hear someone scream. It turned out the officers were allegedly assaulting a woman and started shooting randomly when Luka and his colleagues asked them to stop.
Kwa tumekaa hapo nje kwa gate na marafiki zangu. Kidogo hivi cruiser ikakuja 2 za game park. Wakakuja na fujo. Sasa mimi kama niingie ndani kwa sababu hiyo furugu wakikuja hivyo tunajua tu ni kubaya. Sasa kuingia ndani ya gate hivi kidogo hivi tunasikia nduru. Tunajiuliza ni nani ndani ya compound. Tukasema aje acha tuende tushuhudie nani huyo anapiga nduru. Sasa ile kwa harakati ya kutoka hivi nje tukapata mama anapigwa. Tukasema aje acheni huyu mama, msimpige huyu mama. Wakaanza sasa kufyatua marisasi juu. Kufyatua marisasi watu wakaanza kuja wengi. Wakaanza kupiga tu risasi kiolela.
Luka has dismissed claims that they were fishing in the lake, saying if they had committed an offense, the officers should have arrested them.
Tulikuwa home nje ya gate. Hata game park ilikuwa mbali hapo na hapo. Ilikuwa nje ya gate hata kwa kijiji.
Deputy County Commissioner Obed Mose has said they are ready to have the officers arrested, noting that the firearms used by the officers have already been confiscated.
Na nikisema kuhusu KWS, tuko na register huko ya firearm movement, kwamba mimi nikienda kuchukua bunduki, ninaandika kwamba nimechukua bunduki hii, hata hao askari wanajua. So njia ya kujua kwamba wale ambao walikuwa na bunduki na walikuwa sehemu hii ni rahisi kujua.
Beatrice Ndanu, Lookuptv.
Embu leaders and Muguka farmers and traders have vowed to soldier on with a fight to protect their green gold, with farmers said to lose 1 billion shillings per month and slashing over 300 million shillings from the revenue streams. As John Matava now files, a petition has been filed against the 3 counties for banning the trade of Muguka.
Last week, the 3 counties, Mombasa, Kilifi and Taita Taveta, banned the entry, transportation, sale and use of Muguka and its products. This comes amid rising concerns over mental health and substance abuse linked to Muguka use.
Hatujaiona madhara. Mimi sijaipatana na mtu amelala kwa mtaro ama amegonjeka sababu amekula miraa. Na kuna watu wamekula miraa miaka mingi sana.
Former Embu Senator Lenny Kivoti, addressing farmers and traders in Mbeere, dismissed claims by the coastal leaders that Muguka is a drug. Kivoti noted that Muguka, a variety of Miraa, is a major cash crop supporting many families in dry parts of Embu County, and that it's a legal plant in Kenya and should not be washed away.
Miraa constitutes the main cash crop for the drier parts of Embu County. Right from Gaturi South to Kagari South to Mbeere North to Mbeere South is the main cash earner of the local people. So anybody trying to wish it away it hurts Embu County.
Mberembu Farmers Cooperative Union Chair Javasiers accused the Deputy Senate Speaker Kadhuri Murungi of inciting coastal leaders to ban Muguka, saying farmers will not relent in fighting for the source of their livelihoods that is legal as per the Kenyan Constitution.
Tukasikia naye Mheshimiwa Kadhuri Murungi ameenda huko, Senator wa Meru pamoja na watu wake wakaenda wakaharibu hiyo mpango, na tunahakika ni wao walifanya hivyo kwa sababu maneno ya bei iliachiliwa, tukaanza sasa maneno ya bani. Yaani tukasikia Muguka imefungwa, haitaingia Mombasa, haitauzwa Mombasa, tukajua hiyo ni kazi na
A plant scientist from Mbere, Ben Kayenji, observed that Muguka is one of the many varieties of Miraa cut which belongs to the kingdom plantae, opined that the Muguka issue is just a political case meant to achieve a certain goal. A petition has been filed against 3 counties for banning the trade and consumption of Muguka.
What is happening in Mombasa is not a legal battle, it's not a battle of concerns, well wishes for the people. It is a commercial battle. The intentions are bad, they don't mean well.
John Matava, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
Now, as the debate on the ban of Muguka escalates, the Kenya Tobacco Control Alliance has commended coastal counties or commendatory coastal counties for the decision to ban the entry and use of Miraa and Muguka products. As George Kayesi now files, the alliance wants government to extend the ban nationwide and categorize Muguka as an illicit drug. Let's take a look.
Hii ni mimea ambayo haistahili kushughulikiwa. Hata serikali inapojaribu kuonyesha eti Miraa ni baadhi ya mimea ya kuleta fedha, tunahakikisha ya kwamba tunawaambia watu wetu wa Kenya ya kwamba Miraa na tobacco ni vitu ambavyo havina kesho. These are the 2 crops that have no future. Hivi ni vitu ambavyo vinafungua lango la vijana kuingia katika matumizi ya mihadarati. Na kwa hivyo tumekuwa tukifanya mchezo kwa minajili ya kujifaidi kisiasa. Tukiwadanganya wale watu wa Meru, tukiwadanganya watu wa Embu, watu wa Tharaka Nithi na wengine ya kwamba utumiaji wa Miraa na Muguka ni jambo ambalo halina madhara. Na wataalamu wamesema mara si moja ya kwamba hivi ni vitu ambavyo vinasababisha madhara kwa ubongo wa binadamu. Wanaotumia Muguka, wanaotumia Miraa wanakumbwa na ule uraibu sawa na wale wanaovuta sigara, wale wanaotumia bangi, wale wanaokunywa pombe. Kwa hivyo ili kupambana na janga hili la matumizi ya dawa za kulevya katika nchi yetu, ni lazima tupambane na hivi vitu vyote. Tupambane na Muguka, tupambane na Miraa, tupambane na tumbako, tupambane na pombe, bangi na vitu vyote vile ambavyo vinaleta madhara kwa akili ya binadamu. Kwa hivyo tunaunga mkono na tunasema ya kwamba hata kaunti ambazo zimesalia, kaunti zetu katika Kenya, kila gavana aanze kufikiria jambo hili sasa. Ni jambo ambalo tumefurahia hawa wenzetu ambao hao kweli tunaweza tukasema ni watu ambao wana ujasiri mkubwa.
So there's a statement on a meeting between His Excellency President William RUTO and Embu leadership over the Muguka ban by selected counties that I'll read for you, and I accept here that is as important as it can be. I mean, the takeaway from that particular statement that came after that meeting. Now, it states this, that Agriculture and Livestock Cabinet Secretary Mithika Linturi, who was also at the meeting that was held yesterday, informed the meeting that Muguka, a variety of Miraa, is a scheduled crop in accordance with the Crops Act 2013 and the Miraa Regulations 2013. Good. So it's a crop, and so this is what the meeting then ended up affirming. Now, to operationalize the Crops Act 2013, the regulation provide for the establishment of the Miraa Muguka Pricing Committee. Consequently, the Council of Governors has already nominated 3 members to the committee. So it's done and dusted, therefore, and this is after the government confirmed its commitment in the fight against drugs, illicit brew, and illegal substances. Right there. But guess who spoke yesterday? That the same agencies are government affiliated. Are the ones who said, well, Muguka and Miraa, they're both drugs. In fact, they were talking about them having dire effects on long-term use. So who spoke? Who spoke? I mean, these bodies are entitled in advising the government. The government also says that, well, we're committed to fight drugs, illicit brews, and other illegal substances. We're not going to talk about the medical aspects of it. We just want to learn why these governors thought it's important to go in and introduce the ban. Was it properly informed? That's exactly what we're getting into this morning. I can already see my guests seated this morning just to jump into this particular conversation. You can also be a part of it on Lookuptv across all your social media platforms. Also, on the hashtag The Morning Drift. Good. This morning, we're joined by Mercy Evans, who's a political affairs and governance analyst. Also, Douglas Shiuka, who is a national chairman of Kenya Kwanza Lobby Groups. And Enoch Makanga, who's a security and leadership analyst. This morning, basically just want to understand where the three governors were coming from when they were introducing the ban of the sale and use of Muguka in their counties. The president was quite fast to speak on it. In fact, the fastest we've ever seen him speak on an issue in the country. If you do remember, the doctor strike took him so long to speak on, but this one was quite fast. So the directive is out. We want to understand why. Also, top of that, Gachagua is facing trouble. Yes, who? From the president's man. Is it the president speaking? Or indeed, it is what it is, like they call it. It's a good thing Shuka is here. He's going to tell us exactly what's going on with the party. Because when Oscar Sudi and the rest of them speak, are they speaking for the president or they're speaking for themselves? Looking forward to this conversation right after this break. Good morning, my name is Elijah Charles here.
Save a Life is a non-profit organization that has taken the front line in transforming lives in the entire country. So far, we have transformed life of over 100,000 people through our programs, which include medical support, youth empowerment, street family program, feeding program, and climate change. Join us today as we transform lives. As we always say, service to humanity is service to God. Save a life, transforming lives.
Are you an SME looking for a media partner? Look no more, as Lookuptv got you covered for all your visibility and marketing needs. We at Lookuptv understand your business needs and want to work with you on your marketing journey, giving you solutions that will take you to the next level. Call us today on 0707 572 358 or send an email to sales@lookuptv.co.ke and kickstart this amazing journey. Welcome to Lookuptv, your official SME media partner.
Tunasema ya kwamba safety begins with me and you.
We have some police stations that are farmer interior. They are going to benefit from the tanks for the purpose of water harvesting. Also the police officers, most of them are exposed in places like roadblocks, traffic duties, and then they'll need those sanitizers when they are performing their duties.
Security is a basic need, but we forget to say thank you to the people who are actually providing it. And for us, it's a great initiative because we know as a community we cannot exist without them.
Once we have mitigated COVID-19 effectively, it means that we have a health workforce. And when we have a health workforce, you are definitely in most cases, you deliver the desired results.
Together, we are changing lives. If you want to have a proper outlook of the economy, then you have to speak to the wheels and gears of the integral businesses in the country.
And I want to be able to make the youths and everybody coming up in Kenya know that this is here locally.
Men and women in the thick of the bust of markets rising and falling, fighting to make their business decisions stick.
I've always lived in my career that I can never be late.
You need to train by yourself. You need to practice by yourself. Then from there you can compose yourself and give kind of services like this.
On season 2 of the Captain's Arena, we seek the inside of the minds, predict the shift in the markets, get inspiration to start and make sense of it all.
Just watch what everybody else is doing and just make sure you're giving back to the society.
Oof. This is the Captain's Arena.
All right. Thank you very much for being a part and parcel of the morning drift this morning. Couple of issues to talk about, and we started the show this morning by sort of taking a snapshot of what is going on in the country. I mean, the president has come back from the US trip, but just a couple of things that have happened quickly after he got into the country. Comes back at a time when some governors in the county, region 3 of them to be exact, have banned the sale and use of Muguka in those 3 counties. But also it comes back at a time when JSS teachers have been given a fantastic, or you would say, some of the interns were hired, have been given a fantastic deal by TSC, just about to be permanent and pensionable. But also do not forget that it's day 58 of the clinical officer strike in the country. After the counterparts got to work, they are still on the streets. The president had a full plate when he walked back into the country. Okay, let's then start it like this morning. I'm going to start with this story then. Embu leaders, Muguka farmers and traders have vowed to soldier on with a fight to protect their green gold, with farmers set to lose 1 billion shillings per month and slashing over 300 million from revenue streams. Now, as John Matava reports this morning, a petition has been filed against the 3 counties for banning trade and sell or use of Muguka. Let's take a look at this story, come back and introduce the gentlemen that are in the studio. Then after that, we jump into the conversation. Good morning.
Last week, the 3 counties, Mombasa, Kilifi and Taita Taveta, banned the entry, transportation, sale and use of Muguka and its products. This comes amid rising concerns over mental health and substance abuse linked to Muguka use.
Hatujaiona madhara. Mimi sijaipatana na mtu amelala kwa mtaro ama amegonjeka sababu amekula miraa. Kuna watu wamekula miraa miaka mingi sana.
Former Embu Senator Lenny Kivoti, addressing farmers and traders in Mbeere, dismissed claims by the coastal leaders that Muguka is a drug. Kivoti noted that Muguka, a variety of Miraa, is a major cash crop supporting many families in dry parts of Embu County, and that it's a legal plant in Kenya and should not be washed away.
Miraa constitutes the main cash crop for the drier parts of Embu County. Right from Gaturi South to Kagari South to Mbeere North to Mbeere South is the main cash earner of the local people. So anybody trying to wish it away, it hurts Embu County.
Mbeere Embu Farmers Cooperative Union Chair Javasias accused the Deputy Senate Speaker Kadhuri Murungi of inciting coastal leaders to ban Muguka, saying farmers will not relent in fighting for the source of their livelihoods that is legal as per the Kenyan Constitution.
tukasikia naye Mheshimiwa Kadhuri Murungi ameenda huko, seneta wa Meru pamoja na watu wake, wakaenda wakaharibu hiyo mpango, na tunahakika ni wao walifanya hivyo, kwa sababu maneno ya bei iliachiliwa, tukaanza sasa maneno ya bani. Yani tukasikia Muguka imefungwa, haitaingia Mombasa, haitauzwa Mombasa, tukajua hiyo ni kazi na
A plant scientist from Mbere, Ben Kayenji, observed that Muguka is one of the many varieties of Miraa cut which belongs to the kingdom Plantai, opined that the Muguka issue is just a political case meant to achieve a certain goal. A petition has been filed against 3 counties for banning the trade and consumption of Muguka.
What is happening in Mombasa is not a legal battle, it's not a battle of concerns, well wishes for the people. It is a commercial battle. The intentions are bad, they don't mean well.
John Matava, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
That's where we are then. And the president has spoken. We will see exactly how he spoke about it and quicker that. So this morning then, let me introduce the gentlemen who are already in the studio for this conversation. I'd like to recognize Mercy Evans, who is a political affairs governance analyst. Evans, how are you doing, sir? Yeah, karibu sana.
Great.
All right. Also joining him in the studio, we do have Mr. Chiuke Douglas, who's the national chairman of Kenya Kwanza Lobby Groups. How are you doing, sir?
Thank you so much. Good morning.
Happy to have you around.
Thank you.
Good. Finally then, also joining them this morning is Mr. Makanga Enoch, who's a security and leadership analyst. How are you doing, sir?
I'm fine, thank you.
Happy to have you around. Good. Let's table this conversation now, because we do know exactly how quick this decision has been reached at. Let me start with you, Evans. I mean, when you look at how quick the 3 governors from the coastal region moved to ban the use and sale of Muguka in those coastal towns, that uniformity, do we stop at reading too deep into it? Or it is what it is?
Good morning, viewers.
Good morning.
I would say it is a very interesting turn of events when you see one morning governors that is from the coastal region, that is Kilifi, Mombasa and Taita Taveta.
Yes.
Come up with what I may call very irrational decision to ban the sale and even the consumption of Muguka within those within their counties. The most interesting part of it is what was the motivational factor, or where is their executive orders anchored? That's the big question. You remember in this country a few months ago, again, we had such a kind of an arrangement to deal with alcoholic drinks. Yeah, there's the brews and all that. And again, it was again framed to appear like it is a regional kind of a thing.
Yes.
That is you saw it was more of the Mount Kenya. It is an issue that is affecting Mount Kenya people. And even you saw the deputy president leading the pack as the head of the anti-alcoholic czar.
Yes.
The bigger question we should be looking at when we are having such issues is if we look at the case for Muguka, the coast now, alcohol in Mount Kenya majorly. The question is, if we look at Muguka, does it only affect coastal people? I don't think.
Yes.
And again, when you go deeper into that, you also realize that the governors, what they're trying to do is they want to appease their locals.
Yes.
But again, they're not really looking into the other factors around that kind of policy.
Yes.
An executive order, well, a governor can be able to invoke it depending on the needs, maybe the needs of his or her county. But again, they were supposed actually to look it in line with the law. Muguka has been designated as a crop. The Crop Act 2013, we have I think the Miraa regulations 2023. those are already pieces of legislation which have been anchored into the law. So when the governors actually get ahead and then strike, that's with the stroke of a pen, and then the executive order say we no longer need this, actually they need to look at the broader extent at which the executive orders, how will they be operationalized? Because it's like it is, they are doing it in isolation. It will be operationalized in Mombasa, but not in yeah. So to me, I know it is likely to be challenged, and if the litigants from Embu and those counties that feel they've been aggrieved, they are likely to get a favor from the court.
Pretty much.
Yes.
Mr. Makanga, I want us to look at it. I'll keep on pointing to what majority of leaders in the country are speaking about this one. I'll point you out to one Aaron Cheriot, who was saying this morning that it's a noble thing for the coastal counties to seek to regulate the distribution of Muguka in their turf. The truth is, counties have no such powers. The best thing is for the counties to lobby their members of parliament to present before parliament a bill seeking to ban its use. This is what the conversation stems from. Yeah. Mr. Makanga, are we going to sit here and then imagine that these 3 counties do not have advisors who are pointing them to what might be lawful or unlawful? Because it's clear that Muguka is a crop under the Kenyan law. So you can't ban a crop. It's unlawful to do that.
Yeah, you're right. We have a problem sometimes when it comes to governance at counties where you find decisions are made that are completely unlawful. Now, I've tried to find out from the 3 counties the main reason, and they are talking about youth getting involved in Muguka so much. And then you wonder, if you went at the coast, I think the coast has more serious problems that are related to drugs. And a lot of youth have dived into drugs because the same counties are not able to put in proper control measures and can be able to eliminate, if not reduce, the use of drugs. If you went at the coast, there are places where you know very well you find youth, they are taking these things, they are injecting themselves, and it's not something that you can hide. So I think the decision of making sure that this thing is banned at the coast is not correct, it's unlawful. Number 2, you know, I've been at Maua for like a year. I know how that truck has Muguka has assisted very many people.
Yes.
Many people have gone to school. I mean, it's the main cash crop.
Yes.
From Nyambene going to Meru. I mean, that is the main cash crop there. So you cannot just wake up in the morning. This is something that was used by our forefathers. They never got drunk. It was used by the next generation. We are now almost the 4th generation. It has never had any effects. Yeah. So I think the idea of the leaders from Meru coming up and saying no, I think they go to court. I'm sure the court will listen to them. And my only problem is I've really had a problem with our legislators. Whenever an issue comes up like this, you'll find these guys taking money from both sides. You know, they take money from the guys who are complaining, they take money from the other side, and then you find sometimes they are making a decision that does not favor the guys who are complaining. I just pray God that they are attacked and they are able to make a decision. A very good example is what happened this fertilizer thing. You know, all Kenyans know very well that where the problem was, they know was the culprit. And in modern countries where democracy is in another level, some things you don't require to be paraded. You just resign.
Yes.
Yes. When such a thing happens, you just say, "Wait, guys, let me throw in the towel." But in Kenya, what happened is you find you've done something that has affected millions and millions of people, and you are still fighting on. You are still fighting on. In fact, sometimes I wonder, do we have really blood? Do we really think out of the box?
Yes.
Sometimes, I mean, it is just be good Kenyans. When you do something and you know that it has affected so many Kenyans, either willingly or unwillingly, step aside. That's it.
But these governors do have a point where they're coming from, and Shuka will be coming to you as well on this particular one. That you might sit here and be bewildered on where this decision has come from. But when you look at the relevant authorities that are supposed to advise the government on these particular issues, I mean, Akada is clear on this one. Makanga, they've come in and said, well, this is a drug. They're saying that you cannot not call this a drug. It is a drug.
From where I sit, Muguka is not a drug. From where I sit, this is a crop like any other crop.
Makanga, somebody's going to ask you, you speak under what authority? Because the authority is spoken of.
It is in law. It is in law. The Crops Act is in law. If it was a drug, then the guys in Meru could not be growing it. Bottom line, they could not be growing it now. They are growing it simply because the government has licensed to be grown and to be used as a cash crop like maize in Western Kenya, like coffee in Kiambu. So it's a crop that actually brings money on the table.
So when the relevant authorities that are supposed to advise us on drug and drug use in the country speak against it, what are we supposed to do, Makanga?
That's why I've told you the problem with us in Kenya is that we try to pretend things are not correct when they are not correct. For example, now, if Nakata is saying this is a drug, then why have they not brought it up in parliament? Because, you know, the way we work in Kenya is that once something has been taken to parliament,
yes,
and it has been passed as a law, the same route must be passed when you want to make it unlawful. So you cannot wake up in the morning in Mombasa, in Taita, in Kilifi, and you say, wait a minute, this is unlawful. Let's follow the right procedure. Let's go to parliament. Let the parliament make it unlawful. There we can call it it's a drug. But as things stand right now, how many people from Meru have gone mad? How many people have had problems because of Miraa? Nobody. Nobody. Me, I've never had. If somebody has statistics, he can table here that we are able to discuss it.
Chiyuke. Good morning. Good morning.
Really put me in a situation catch-22.
Does it?
Why am I saying so? Because one, Muguka has and is a livelihood for so many people of the Mount Kenya region for a long time. People, farmers, people in transport sector, people in the retail section.
Yes.
And number two, the counties that have banned this plant are the main market.
Yes.
These are the main market for the drug. Now we need to have a proper identification.
Yes.
Not just that Muguka is a drug, but is it a harmful drug? I think that should be the question. Is Muguka a harmful drug? Now, number one is we don't have that law in Kenya that has classified Muguka as a harmful drug. Because if it was a harmful drug, then the law should have just applied. This one cannot be sold. Number two, when you come to the implementation of the County Act, Muguka is a drug which comes under, I think, the health ministry. And in the constitution, the health ministry has been devolved to the counties. So to an extent, the governors have a right to pronounce themselves on the sale of Muguka in the counties. That is where we need to have a clear law that is going to guide the Kenyan people on how to go about it.
Yes.
Because you find the national government has got absolutely no law whether this drug is harmful, Muguka. They don't have that law. But now, the counties that are consuming it, that are the market for the Muguka, have come out and say, no, this Muguka is a drug that is harmful, that is putting our people, that is exposing our people to health hazards, and therefore we cannot allow it to be in our counties. They have a right to do so because health, as as a function of the government has been devolved. What we need what the government needs to do, it has to come and give a proper guidance whether Muguka is a harmful drug. For example, I was just trying to go deeper into understand why the government, why the county government, maybe they reached to this decision.
Yes.
They say, for example, Muguka affects the liver. They say it affects the lungs. They say it affects impotence to an extent.
Does it?
But you see, these are things that have not yet been proved to a level that it can be classified as a harmful drug. So for me, I think I'm calling upon the government to come very clear,
yes,
and say, because of this research, because of this test, we have proved that these substances have gone are above what we can say Muguka is a harmless drug, it's a harmful drug, and therefore we are banning it in the whole country.
Does it?
I think the government should come to the rescue of Kenyans so that we know that this drug is not good or is good, so that people who are living living on it should proceed as other Kenyans.
Pretty
so
much.
I think the people are right to go to court to seek an interpretation, but also in the same vein, the governors have a right also to protect their people from harmful drug.
Pretty much. Gentlemen, as we continue with this conversation, I want you also think about the speediness at which the government has responded to this, specifically the president, on this particular issue. Now, I would like to go into the second story, because we've been questioning whether indeed that this is a drug or not. Now, as the debate on the ban on Muguka escalates, the Kenya Tobacco Control Alliance has commended coastal counties for the decision to ban the entry and use of Miraa and Muguka products. Now, as George Kayesi files this morning, the Alliance now wants government to extend the ban nationwide and categorize Muguka as an illicit drug. Let's take a look at that, because that's where the next conversation then points us toward.
ambayo haistahili kushughulikiwa. Hata serikali inapojaribu kuonyesha eti miraa ni baadhi ya mimea ya kuleta fedha, tunahakikisha ya kwamba tunawaambia watu wetu wa Kenya ya kwamba miraa na tumbako ni vitu ambavyo havina kesho. These are the two crops that have no future. Hivi ni vitu ambavyo vinafungua lango la vijana kuingia katika matumizi ya mihadarati. Na kwa hivyo tumekuwa tukifanya mchezo kwa minajili ya kujifaidi kisiasa, tukiwadanganya wale watu wa Meru, tukiwadanganya watu wa Embu, watu wa Tharaka Nithi na wengine, ya kwamba utumiaji wa miraa na Muguka ni jambo ambalo halina madhara. Na wataalamu wamesema mara si moja ya kwamba hivi ni vitu ambavyo vinasababisha madhara kwa ubongo wa binadamu. Wanaotumia Muguka, wanaotumia miraa, wanakumbwa na ule uraibu sawa na wale wanaovuta sigara, wale wanaotumia bangi, wale wanaokunywa pombe. Kwa hivyo, ili kupambana na janga hili la matumizi ya dawa za kulevya katika nchi yetu, ni lazima tupambane na hivi vitu vyote. Tupambane na Muguka, tupambane na miraa, tupambane na tumbako, tupambane na pombe, bangi na vitu vyote vile ambavyo vinaleta madhara kwa akili ya binadamu. Kwa hivyo tunaunga mkono na tunasema ya kwamba hata kaunti ambazo zimesalia, kaunti zetu katika Kenya, kila gavana aanze kufikiria jambo hili sasa. Ni jambo ambalo tumefurahia hawa wenzetu ambao hao kweli tunaweza tukasema ni watu ambao wana ujasiri mkubwa.
Thank you very much. Hey, as we go on with this broadcast, Marcy Evans, I'll be showing you a picture of the president.
Correct.
The State House with top leaders from Embu County. I'll be showing you that because it gives us a perspective. So the question I'm asking here is, Katka has already spoken. I mean, it's an authority. So I would like to think, or every other person would like to think, that they're informed. As a journalist, if Nakada says it is a drug, I would essentially pick that as a top story. If Katka says, indeed, we do classify this as a drug, I'll pick that as a top story, knowing very well that these are the bodies that exist within this particular segment that give us stats and figures about why this is a drug, then why, so who's speaking here? Is it the Ministry of Agriculture, or it is the relevant authorities within the Kenyan Constitution that are telling the government, hey, this is a drug? Nakara is also spoken on it. Master Evans.
Now, you see, much of the decisions in this country
yes.
That are taken, you will even wonder how they are anchored or how they are founded. If you look at this issue around Muguka,
yes.
It's like it has become so emotional, just like it has been for alcohols, just like it has been for any other thing.
Yes.
So the government, both the government and even the civil society and those interested groups are not looking at it in a more rational way. I think when this issue came up, I was looking at something, because if somebody says we do away with the Muguka because it appears is a drug, it's dangerous, it's harmful to our people, then where do we leave out Miraa?
Yes.
Because I've been looking at the difference between Miraa and Muguka. The line of difference is very thin, very thin indeed. So when you begin striking away Muguka, then it's as good as you're already again signaling to the people of Miraa that I'm coming for you.
I'm coming for you.
So again, that is another bigger storm
yes.
that actually will again elicit a lot of emotions and
yes.
then all that. So the baseline here is, let us go back to the law. The act was enacted in 2013. We are 11 years. And actually, as my colleagues have pointed out, in this country, a law will be enacted, then we leave it to gather dust. We do not even look at it, the dynamics with time, if there is need to review it,
yes.
to relook at it, and all that. And that is why somebody will wake up one morning and then say, this is not happening, when actually he hasn't actually looked into the legal framework on which whatever he's trying to say it should not happen was what was its origin actually. So the effort should begin from the law, from the National Assembly, from the county assemblies. That is where we need to begin from. Now, when you look at the way the government is trying to react and that is conduct itself around this one, if you look at the meeting that was at State House Nairobi yesterday, it was all about the politics of Embu, Tharaka Nithi, and could be Meru.
That's it.
Yeah, it was not all about a solution on what we need actually to do,
yes,
to fix that, to relook at the decisions of those three governors at the cost. It was all about, can we appease our people who give us, who are good for us in, could be now politics and all that. So what we need is, we need actually to be above such a kind of understanding, and then we go back to the Act in 2013, we go back to the regulations of 2023, and see how we can be able to review it.
Yes.
So that if actually for the past 10 years or 11 years or the period, it has been determined without reasonable doubt that actually Muguka now falls to be a drug and no longer a crop to support livelihoods in those areas of larger Meru and Embu, then let the law actually be effected. But again, you realize when I saw the three governors invoking their executive orders, there's something actually struck my mind. That is, we also have a gap in our devolution arrangements.
Yes.
If you go in places, in countries which have two levels of government, like in the United States, you find states have the autonomous in the way they execute their affairs, be it legal issues and all that. And you find it is very distinct. A given state will have its own way of looking at an issue different from could be the other. But here, actually very separate from what the federal government is. Like whatever is happening in Washington and whatever is happening in Florida may not really be, Florida may have its own arrangement as opposed to what is at the federal government in Washington.
Yes.
But, and it's very clear. It is very clear. For them, it is very clear. There's little friction. But in this kind of a case here, the counties of Mombasa, Kwale, and that is there's a Kilifi, Mombasa, and Taita Taveta. You realize there's a gap, and that's why my friend Shuka has been talking about, like health is devolved, but actually, do the counties enjoy that autonomy on health issues and policies? Agriculture is also devolved, and actually they're saying Muguka is a crop, so it falls within the agriculture. That's why you saw even the Minister for Agriculture, or the CS, present during that State House meeting. So again, are the counties, do they enjoy that autonomy around policies within the agriculture docket? So we have that kind of a gap, and that gap is that's what is actually putting us in a lot of this fix. So we need to begin with the law and look at it, review it,
yes,
before we go into these emotions.
Pretty much. Now, gentlemen, and I'll be coming to you. It's your time, and I would just like to pick an interpretation. I will start with you, Martha Evans. Sheila, if you can, give us that picture of the president with Embu leaders late last evening at the State House. If you can, I would like Martha Evans to start that interpretation for us this morning. Martha Evans, when you look at that picture, but let's put it into context. President has just come from the US trip.
Correct.
Landed on Friday. We'd like to think he would ask for a couple of days off, isn't it? Just to get himself in the right mind frame and start working. This news about the Miraa ban essentially started hitting ground late last week when it was just about to land, and then the rest of the counties joined in. How fast is it to get a meeting with the president as an Embu leader? I'm going to give you 45 seconds to give the interpretation of that picture.
If I look at that was a fireside chat between the president and his group of people who support him. If you look at Embu, Tarakanide and Meru, there have been much of support to the president.
Yes.
And if you look at the counties that are actually opposed to this or they're banning this, they seem to also be on the other side. So I think the president was making a political move.
That's it.
That kind of
as a security expert, Makanga, you be the right man this morning to tell us how quick it is to get a meeting with the president on an issue that has come mid his trip to the US, lands, and then immediately at night you actually get granted to permission to have that meeting with the president. When you look at that picture, it's late night. What issue can force the president to have a meeting with a certain set of leaders in this country late at night?
Okay, well, what happens at State House or any other State House when the president is away?
Yes.
Immediately he comes at the airport. Is made by the security chiefs, and everybody will give him a brief what is hot, what is cooking up, and this is as urgent as possible. So once the president has been briefed that from the backyard this is what is happening, now it is the prerogative of the State House controller and his team to make sure that they call for such a meetings. And such a meeting, of course, as you know very well, that Mount Kenya played a very big role in the election of the president. So you can't just let your votes just go in the dustbin simply because of an issue that you could be able to handle. So it was in order for him to call these guys, to be able to sit down with them and tell them, guys, can we come up with a way where this issue can be looked into? We look at the planning, the regulations, and all the regulations that were put in place.
Yes.
So that the whole game is properly instituted. But now, looking at it from a more better perspective, we are saying,
yes,
I mean, you just want to protect your votes. I mean, if you play around...
Which one would you give more balance? Is that the president really trying to protect his votes from that particular region?
Yes, if it, you see, this thing is explosive.
Does that?
This thing, if you joke around with it as a president,
yes.
Remember, I've told you, I actually did some work in Maua.
Does it?
So I know those areas of Maua, Meru, Embu. My friend, this thing is a serious crop.
Does it?
I don't think there's any other crop there. They only talk about Miraa, Muguka. That's it. That's where people have taken their children to school. That's where I can say is the main livelihood in Mount Kenya. So when you walk up and you say, please, in Mombasa, this thing is not going to work, and that's why these guys sell this thing. What are you saying? You are saying these guys are now paralyzed economically. These guys will not be able to. You remember we had a problem in Somalia, and we had to have a diplomacy going there, talk to them, whether they allow Miraa to go to Somalia. They banned for some period, and these guys really had issues, serious issues, because Somalia is one of the market for this thing. And Kenya had to send people to go there and talk to these guys to be able to allow Miraa to go. So what I know, at the end of the day, we must have some diplomacy discussions between the people from Meru and the governors in down there. To me, where I sit is we make decisions, but at the end of the day, they are not the decisions that are supposed to be made as far as leadership is concerned. This thing required just to you look at it and you analyze. If the problem is Miraa is making or Muguka is making problems at the coast, then find a way that this thing can be controlled. You can't eliminate. You can't eliminate. This is a crop. And if we have to actually eliminate it, let's go to Parliament.
Tazam, here's the thing, I'll be coming back to you. I'm going to change, Sheila, if you can again show us that picture as well. I'm going to change it. I'm going to change it for you this morning. Which would have been a better picture? Could have it been a picture of the president with the 3 governors, or a picture of the president with the Embu leaders? Which could have been a better picture, either politically or in black and white terms on this particular issue for Miraa? Which could have been a better picture for you?
This is the best picture.
Which one? This one?
This one is the best.
Why is it the best picture? I mean, Embu guys have no problem with Miraa.
And why I'm saying so is it is not easy for you to get an appointment with the president. But looking at those people who are seated there, that is the top layer of the government. We have the Minister for Interior, Professor Kindik is there. We have the Minister for Agriculture, and we have the Embu Governor, who is the chairperson of the UDA party.
Yes.
And this issue of Muguka is now turning out to be a very hot political issue. And if the leadership of this region does not seem to be doing anything politically, you have to bear in mind that these are people who have been hired by the people on the ground. So they need to show political move that when this thing happened, we took it in our responsibility as the political leaders to meet the president on this issue. So they are trying to wash their hands from the issue that we met the president and this is what it is. And also it is good for the president to have audience with them, so that he says, I had an audience with the people of the region and we discussed ABCD. But this, to me, if for this issue to be dispensed of in a way, this is a purely scientific situation.
Yes,
we need to be guided.
Even before science, Shiuka, that meeting with these leaders from the mountain region could be a better statement politically for the president than it would have been for him to meet with leaders from the coastal region, an area where we do know his party doesn't enjoy majority support. So would you then say that this particular decision here is a political decision as opposed to a scientific decision?
To me, it's a political decision that the outcome will be guided by the scientific decision. Because even in government, even if we say government is going to debate this thing, how will Parliament be guided?
Yes,
Parliament will debate, but it will be guided by what NACADA or the scientific findings.
Yes.
So to me, is we have to go back and see, does the Muguka have drugs or substances that are above what we can say this is a plant and this is a harmful drug? That's where the law, that's where everything is. Because this is not purely a political problem, it's a scientific one. Because even if you take it to the Parliament or to the Senate, on which basis will they be discussing it or debating it? They need to have the scientific backing for them to push through the whole thing.
Mr. Makanga, I want you to weigh in on this before I jump to Mercy then. Let's make sense of it. I mean, if the governors, and we do know, just like you've said, that the coastal region, especially among the youth, they're facing a lot of challenges from drug and drug use. It's a vice that is well known in those counties, especially in the coastal region.
Yeah.
So when the president goes there, what message does he have for them on this one? Because the governors have been steadfast on banning it, but the president is saying, well, reverse it.
As I told you, I think the coast region has more serious problems that are related to drugs,
yes,
as opposed to Muguka and Miraa. I can assure you. The issue of cocaine and all these things, they are more serious, deep-rooted, that so many youths have been messed up.
Yes.
I don't think Muguka is to a level that these guys are trying to put it.
Yes.
However,
yes,
what I know will happen is guys from the main areas, if these guys are able to load themselves well, when I say loading, and they're able to meet the governors, we'll find this thing being reversed. So as one of them said, it's more of the governors are trying to play, I can say, business politics. You get what I'm saying? Business politics. Yes, you come and sort me out, then from there I'll allow you to be able to bring in this thing. But if you look at it critically, I've said Muguka and Miraa is not a serious issue at the coast, as opposed to the actual issue on the ground where these guys bring in drugs, then these drugs are sold to innocent youth, and these youth get addicted, and that is the problem.
But when the authorities in this particular area speak, for anybody who's watching you this morning, I mean, Akada has spoken on it, Ketka has spoken on it, and they're telling you, we've done research, these are the facts. And for any other person who's coming to table it, or the petitioners who've gone to court, that research is available publicly for anybody who wants to look at it. When these government agencies speak, how are you supposed to speak as the president? Which is why I asked you, which could have been a better picture here, Makanga, as a security analyst? Would have it been the three governors and the president, or the MB leaders and the president? Because the president wouldn't be telling them, hold on, let's go to court first, is when we make a decision on this. The president will be telling them, I will help you make sure that this is not essentially a problem for you.
I think one of the problems we had with the current government is different people speaking different languages, and in the best interest of the public. That's one of the problems we had. You find an agent speaking this, and the main executive speaking this.
Yes.
So I think that needs to be sorted out, so that at the end of the day, we get to know the true picture of this thing. And as my colleagues have said, we are talking about if I were RUTO right now, the best thing I would have done is we pick the best scientists, the ones in Cambridge, and tell them within a certain period, can we get the final result of this thing, and from there we are able to make a decision. But but
it cannot do that, Makanga. Can it? It cannot do that.
As the president, you can do it.
But after meeting with the MB leaders, the question is, I have a problem. Scientists within the country and some governors have said, what you think is a crop for us, we declared a drug, and the government agencies are speaking on it. And the first move from the president is to meet with the people who produce this crop. Number one, know the people that are complaining, know the people that have got these scientific facts that we're talking about. So why would he do that? This is his stance. He's looked at his stance, Makanga.
Even if I was the president right now, that's what I would have done.
Wait, meet MB leaders?
You meet them first, because if these guys explode, then I mean.
But hold on, they've got no problem.
Yes.
They've got no problem with their crop. It is other people that are complaining about this crop that they're producing. Why would you meet the source of the problem per se?
You must meet the people who grow it, because that is their main cash crop. Then after that, now you can now meet the people who consume the product.
What would be your two-step? Is it to meet the people who've raised up these concerns before you meet the people who produce this cash crop?
No, meet the people who raise their concerns. They are not genuine.
Is it because, are you speaking as the president, or you're speaking as you in person? Let me put you, you in person.
Me as Enoch, I'm telling you, if I were the president, that's what I could have done. The decision the president has taken is a correct one. Because at the end of the day, if you make a mistake, this crop is grown in the whole of Mount Kenya. So if you make a mistake of just neglecting them and assuming that nothing has happened, I can assure you things will happen in the next few days. Because at the end of the day, what do you want them to grow? You want them to grow tobacco? You want them to grow maize? These guys don't know maize, don't know tobacco. What they know is Muguka, and that is it. Number two, at the end of the day, we talk about drugs when we have got what we call statistics of how many people have died, how many people have, some statistics, where are they?
Yes.
Yes, we don't have statistics from Embu, from Meru,
yes,
that actually indicate that we have got 10 people who died in Meru, 20 people who died in Embu because of drugs.
Yes.
When we are talking about Changa, we know very well. Yeah. We can say how many people have died because of Changa. But when we are talking about Muguka, and to me, where I sit, I still believe these guys should be given a chance to be able to grow their crop.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, the crop is not as poisonous as people are thinking.
Yes.
Yes.
That's it. Here's the thing, Mercy Evans, and we're going to keep on looking at that particular picture, gentlemen. And Makanga, you'd also come in as a security expert to tell us what were some of the faces you'd expect to be in a meeting that we didn't see. Here's the thing, Mercy Evans, the same question I'm asking you this morning. I mean, the MB people have got no problem with whatever it is that they're producing. It's other people, the three governors are complaining about it, and the authorities that are supposed to advise the government on these particular issues have come out to declare that indeed this is a drug. Who would you meet first? Is it the people who are growing this crop or the people who are complaining?
I want to weigh in, just like my colleague has tried to put it.
Yes.
From where the president is seated, when the president looks at that issue, one is he looks at his interest first. It is his political interest first, not even the scientific or the other justifications that have been tried to be put across.
Would you like to call that wrong?
So,
Mercy Evans, would you like to call that wrong?
You know, the president, in his wisdom, he will want to, cause the three governors from the other end have their own reasons. And the reason they have raised is around health, mental health, economic, social. So they have their own slats of issues they're trying to put forth. And that's why they are trying to say Muguka should no longer be a product here for our people. But when the president comes in, you see, one, the president is looking at this issue, what gonna be its impact. Already there were demonstrations and all that. In that very region that actually produces Muguka is one of his bastion when it comes to his politics and all that. So the president will first meet the leaders in those Meru, Embu, and then Tarakanidhi. Before maybe he can be even, let alone meeting, just make even a call to those other three governors from the coast and try to find what were the issues. But we can't say the president doesn't know both sides of the issue. I know he has information fully on what actually motivated the three governors to come up with that ban. And again, you already understand how aggrieved those other leaders and the people from the Muguka producing regions have also felt about the whole thing. The way I look at it, you would not want to, what the president, in having that meeting, he wanted actually to navigate smoothly out of that kind of a storm. Not to appear like he's aloof, he didn't say anything about it. It actually is becoming a political issue. And as my friend has put it, actually the leaders who you saw seated with the president, I think they're having a hard time to even go and explain themselves to the people. Because the people are like, what is it really happening? Are you not representing us? But again, I'll say, basically, the big issue is most of the people seated there, the governors, the governor could be, the members of parliament, they could be MCAs as well, and the general leadership of those places. And when this issue of Muguka came by, it is an issue that was founded within parliament. It is law. Yeah. So I think we also need to be very honest with our people when we are actually representing them. When even we say we try to push for their issues and interests, let us also be very clear about it. And then again, back to the cost. The governors, if you look keenly where they have come from, right now, the three governors, and even they could be the fourth one, the Kwale, and even the Lamu one might join in. We don't know. Or Tana River could be also. There are common issues, and as my colleague Enoch has put it, Coast has suffered a lot when it comes to the issues of these drugs. And again, that has been a very thorny issue, and we will not have a very drastic action on how they can be able to fix. The previous even administration in those counties have failed. They haven't had a very clear way to fix that issue of drugs, which has been a very big thing in that area, in that region. So I tend to believe the three governors could also be just using this Muguka issue actually to appear like they also want to show to their people that they also have something to do to the issue of drugs. But I think it is more than Muguka. Because when it comes to issues of drugs and drug use and substance abuse, I think it is a big issue. Muguka alone, banning Muguka alone in those counties may not actually resolve anything.
Pretty much. Sheyuke, let's come to you then. Sheila, if you can again, please, we're going to keep on referencing this particular picture here as I keep on telling you exactly what's happening around this particular area. We do know currently that 500 million shillings has been extended by the president to the value addition and development of Miraa and Muguka in the country. Good, we leave it on the side as well. But again, when you look at that picture, if it's a political statement, there's one important face that is missing out of it. You're going to hold a meeting from the Mount Kenya region. You'd expect Rigathi Gachagua to be there. Why is he missing? Where was he? You like to think that they will speak to him directly, for him to seek a meeting with the president. Who did they speak to first before they got to the president? Why is he missing? He's not there, Sheyuke.
Yeah.
Where was he?
The deputy president was not in the meeting. But I know he had business in the Rift Valley.
It was a night. It was a night. It was a night. I mean, the president had other business during the day, but this meeting was squeezed late in the night.
Yeah.
It could have been there.
Yeah.
It could have been there. Was he not consulted?
I don't think the deputy president or any minister should consult the deputy president when you want to meet the president. I think if there are issues that the president feels that these issues maybe I'm not in a position to handle them because of my schedule, it is the president that will delegate the issues to the deputy president. Because the deputy president,
the topmost leader from the Mount Kenya region is Rigathi Gachagua. It's an issue that will touch on him. That when you look at who's our leader from this region, you will say Rigathi Gachagua. He is the topmost leader from that region. You would have expected that these cries would have gone directly to him. Are we saying that then the kingpin of that region is RUTO, whether they like it or not? Because it went to him directly.
Yeah, and let me just remind you, maybe for those who have forgotten, for their memory.
Yes.
The president, when he was campaigning, he did not go, when he went to Mount Kenya, he did not go through any person. He went there directly to get the votes as the president with his people, Honorable Ishungwa, Honorable Dindi Nyoro, the governor Sisiri Mbarire. He went through them. So I cannot say that anything from Mount Kenya must come through His Excellency the Deputy President for it to be the president. I think that is a misconception, which if it must be done, then I'm telling you, if the Deputy President feels that should be done, I think he'll be shooting himself in the foot, because he has to know that he is the principal assistant to the president. Number one, that they came to this power together to implement the manifesto. So whatever it takes, he should not be seen to contradict the president in public at any moment.
What about support as being part of this particular meeting?
This particular meeting, it is an omission, and you know, maybe an omission in politics is read is read in different ways. But for me, I don't read so much.
As the thing, I mean, the president would need people within his pocket to represent his views. And you'd like to think that the reference point to the Mount Kenya region, especially issues on agriculture, which, by the way, is what the deputy president said he was coming to help deliver for the region, is that it touches on his mandate.
Yeah, but with me, I see CS Interior.
Yes.
Professor Kindiki is there.
That's it.
I see Governor for Embu.
That's it.
Our Excellency, Madam Honorable Cecily Mbarira is there.
Yes. Yes.
I don't think those are there from this region.
I'm going to talk about that in the next part of our discussion this morning, gentlemen. But guess what? You see those names you mentioned now? Kithure Kindiki, Cecily Mbarira.
Yes.
And those leaders you mentioned there.
Yes.
That with their feelings within the UDA party, that when it comes to hierarchy, they rank higher than the DP. So when you have an important meeting for my region, him being omitted, just like you put it, okay, is no problem at all. I mean,
to me, I don't see it as it's a big deal. It's not a big deal because the president has
are you concerned that he's not spoken about it so far?
I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned because the right people had a meeting with the president.
Yes.
So, and I don't think he was not discussed. He was on another mission somewhere, maybe discharging duties on the authority of the president.
I also reminded it was late night.
It was at late night.
So it could have come. It was. You see the way that we started this by saying, well, the president squeezed this in late night. I mean, for a man who's been all over, and if you looked at his itinerary within that day, was even signing a power deal for last mile connectivity throughout the day.
Yeah, let's wait and see. But with me, from where I sit, I don't want to read so much into it. I think the president, the meeting was well convened with the leaders of the Mount Kenya.
Yes.
And I don't think somebody at the level of the minister, of the CS, or a level of a governor, should have any other person in between him or her to meet the president.
Let's look at what is going on at the office of the second lady, who's a pastor, Dr. Rigathi. She's taken it upon herself to fight drug and drug use among youth in the country, especially men. And by the way, just the other day, she was in Tanarifa talking about this particular thing that we're talking about here, drug and drug use. And I remember presenting a story about how youth are doing unspeakable behavior because of reliance on drugs. Could it be a conflict of interest for the deputy president to come out and speak against Miraa being a drug, now that relevant authorities are calling it a drug? Is it been pitted against the wall?
This is a very tricky position, even for the president, because of what it involves. It's the people. You know, the livelihood of the people of Mount Kenya is at stake. Because if it's going to be banned, then what next to the people who have had a living through Miraa, through landing Miraa, through transporting Miraa, and through selling Miraa? What next to the people? So it is not a very easy decision just for anybody to wake up and say, I'm banning it, or I'm not banning it. Because now two regions are against each other. The coastal region is against, and the Mount Kenya region is for it. The Mount Kenya regions produces it has leveled on it because it produces the drug and sells it. And the coastal region is the consumer. So, and all these regions, when you look at it as a politician, you look in terms of votes. So no politician would want to antagonize any region, for anything. So it's a very tricky issue for even the president, because even the president cannot just say I'm banning or I'm supporting. Because you need to be guided by the scientific results. That does it have the chemicals that are above?
Shuka, is it not supported though, gentlemen? Because the developing news around this story, Mercy, is that 500 million shillings has been promised to the development and value addition. Are we contradicting ourselves on this set this morning, saying let's be guided by stats and figures on this. When you have a president who's already promising money for value addition and development of Miraa and Muguka in the country, I'm going to give you 45 seconds, Mercy Evans, to weigh in on this particular issue before we go on break.
Interestingly, the president manifesto. That is the UDA manifesto on how they're capable to support agribusiness. That is, and value addition was one of their main issues, pillar within that kind of sector.
Yes.
And so by allocating that amount of money, in their understanding was actually to go down and be able actually to boost the growth, production, and even other processes that will be able to make their, whatever they do, their trade more lucrative and profitable.
Yes.
And so what I'll say is the president is in a very delicate spot, and he needs to walk a very fine line, because I think he ought to balance. As my friend has put it, you realize this is an issue that actually is on both sides of the coin. On one end, you need actually to see to it that actually, because if you say it's no longer there, then what is the need of allocating that 500 million shillings into, or that amount of money into that sector? And if you say, I'm supporting it, then what are you telling the people at the cost? So I think the president should walk a very interesting fine line of balance.
Pretty much. Gentlemen, once we come back, we'll be touching on leaders from within the UDA government was speaking against Miraa as well. Touch on that, and once we come back, Shiuka is here. He's already opened that conversation on the troubles of the deputy president within the UDA party. What are they not saying? What are they willing to share? We'll be listening to that from Shiuka right here this morning as we were in with Mercy Evans as well. Joining the conversation on Lookuptv across all your social media platforms. My name is Sembalaja Charles. Can I get the hashtag Guess the Morning Drift? See you after the break.
Are you an SME looking for a media partner? Look no more, as Lookuptv got you covered for all your visibility and marketing needs. We at Lookuptv understand your business needs and want to work with you on your marketing journey, giving you solutions that will take you to the next level. Call us today on 0707 572 358 or send an email to sales@lookuptv.co.ke and kickstart this amazing journey. Welcome to Lookuptv, your official SME media partner.
Assalamu alaikum. Siku ya leo tuko katika kaunti ya Kwale. Takriban watu 800 leo watapokea usaidizi wetu kwa hisani ya RUTO Foundation. Kwa hivyo ambatana na mimi siku ya leo tuone hali vipi.
Iko mbaya sana baba. Iko mbaya hali. Iko mbaya. Njaa tu. Tunashukuru kwa grupu ya Tuliani Kayamba.
Nashukuru kupata msaada kidogo, unaweza kunisaidia kidogo.
Waizidi na imani hiyo hiyo.
Asante sana kwa RUTO, manake imebadilisha maisha, imetugusia maisha yetu, na leo tunalala watu tofauti.
Na bwana nashukuru na Mungu akubarikieni.
As long as we go with that theme that ukicheza kila mtu ni mshindi, we will also continue to support.
Kwanza na wafurahikia sana, na nataka tena wakija wanikumbuke mimi mzee wao.
Thank you for your help. Together, we are changing lives.
Save a Life is a non-profit organization that has taken the front line in transforming lives in the entire country. So far, we have transformed life of over 100,000 people through our programs, which include medical support, youth empowerment, street family program, feeding program, and climate change. Join us today as we transform lives. As we always say, service to humanity is service to God. Save a life, transforming lives.
Pindi tu taarifa zinapochipuka na kutufikia papa hapa kwenye makao makuu ya chumba cha habari cha runinga ya Lookup, kwenye taifa, kwenye serikali, kwenye bunge, tunajitosa hadi kwenye sauti ya wenyeji ili kupata tu maoni ya wenyeji kuhusu masuala haya yanayochipuka.
Maana hii kitu inaenda kuumiza Mkenya kwa tax.
Hakuna kitu tunafurahia. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sisi tunaumia, si ati tunaumia ile ya kiukweli. Juu maisha ni ngumu.
Na bila shaka tunapata maoni yao ili sauti yao ipate kusikika. Na watasema hili, waseme lile, watasema hiki na waseme kile, almuradi sauti yao ipate taa.
Mambo ya mafuta tena imekuwa ni changamoto zaidi kwa kila mtu wa bodaboda.
Uchumi ikikuwa stable, tunaamini mambo itakuwa sawa sawa.
Kwanza liko na ria wa boda, mama mboga nini. Hao sasa ndio wamefinywa zaidi man.
Mtazamaji, hii ni bunge la wenyeji.
Thank you very much. Let's touch on the last bits of the trending story in the country. That is on the ban of Miraa. Now, gentlemen, I gotta point you out to statements of one, Abdul Somad Sharif, who's the governor of Mombasa. That's what he's saying. Ni ngumu kupata Miraa kuliko kupata Muguka county ya Mombasa. You get it, yeah? So there's an oversupply of Muguka in that particular county. Goes on to say, do not talk about us. We know our story in the counties. So when we ban it, we know. Fine. And then we went on a break, and I want to put it to you as well, Enoch. Good, do not ban it. But then when it comes to the power of supply within the counties, they can manage it. And effectively at that, they might give it to you and say, well, we're not banning it. But then they will control the supply of Miraa into those particular counties. Which is why I started by asking, so why are you meeting the people who've got completely no problem with the production? Wouldn't it have been better to start with the problem? Solve the problem, because the problem is not in the production. The problem is in the sale and use of this particular drug.
That's why the president has actually, if you look at his statement, let's look at the planning, that this thing is done in a professional way. Yeah. Then production, then selling. Yes. Then the final process of it being going into the market. Now, then they have a right to say we need only this, we don't need this. You getting me? But all these things need people to sit down on the table. We sit down. You cannot decide alone. You as the person who receives it, I only want two. Because you are saying you know what is on the ground, you only want two. I think it will not be able to work. The best approach is you sit down, let's have the leaders from Embu sitting down with the governors in Mombasa and then agreeing on what actually fits the market in terms of either overproduction, in terms of, otherwise where will they take it? Where will they take the produced Miraa? Yes. This is not something that you will say that you throw in the river. It must be taken somewhere. People must consume it. So To me, what I see right now is a question of leaders sitting together. If actually Meru leaders are serious, they're going to see the president. Their next meeting should be now meeting the governors in Mombasa. Whether this issue is sorted out in a make-up way, one, without hurting the normal mwananchi. To me, where I sit is the normal mwananchi. Yes. People who have gone to school because of that Miraa. People who are living because of that Miraa. Let somebody be able to go and meet these guys. At the end of the day, they can also come on the other side. You know, when you shoot and you are on one side, you don't shoot to kill. You must be able to say, let me shoot to injure. So what the governors are doing in Mombasa is shoot to kill. And that's now where we are saying, at the end of the day, it's going to bring a serious economic problem on that area of Mount Kenya, and leaders must be able to come out of their comfort zone, leave alone meeting the president, yes, where the problem is at the coast, meeting the coast leaders and be able to ask a simple question. Why did you come up with this nullification, and can we be able to talk? Can we be able to agree on what are the nitty-gritties? Where can we be able to control this issue? If they do that way, I can assure you that at the end of the day, both parties will be able to agree on one issue. Then the issue that I didn't mention about Nakada. I'm a bit disappointed about Nakada. I'm a bit disappointed about the people who've been given responsibilities by the government to be able to bring down drugs in Kenya. I think you will agree with me. Have you had any function of Nakada?
Oh yeah.
Have you had any function?
Not so much.
Not so much. These guys are nowhere. They can't come to media. They can't come to, I mean, I don't see them. They don't meet youth. They don't do things that will be able to make sure that youth don't get into drugs. They're just there earning money. Somebody just gets there to be elected, to be appointed chairman of Nakada, and I think the only guy we can remember did a good job was Mututo. Because you could see, you could feel him, you could hear him everywhere. But now these guys are really, you know, sometimes you look at the government, the former government, you wonder, when the government gives you a position, why can't you deliver? Why can't you deliver? Most guys who've been given good positions by the president are letting the president down completely. And now the president has to come in. When the president calls for such a meeting, I mean, the people are supposed to be on the front line, and Nakada and the guys who deal with what? With suppressing drugs. But now these guys are nowhere. They're just shouting on the fence. Muguka is what? Is illegal. Muguka is illegal. You are shouting, but you are not doing anything to be able to help us as a country, because you are the authority that is actually mandated to be able to assist us. I think that's where the problem is. And leadership is where the problem is. People are given positions and they don't know what they are supposed to do. They have no strategies. They don't know what they are supposed to do. Yes. So we keep on revolving on the same issue, go at the cost. I mean, they don't even know which are the areas that are hotspot as far as drugs are concerned. Yeah. To me, I know Mombasa is hotspot. You go to Malindi, those sides of Lamu, you come to Kwale. I was in Kwale, and what I saw, I couldn't believe. I think this thing of the border has saved a lot. These tuk-tuk things, it has really saved crime prevention. Yes. Crime has come down. People have left drugs. They are now engaged in a business because you can get something at the end of the day. But now this is what we call initiatives being formed by the private organizations to bring in tuk-tukus, and these guys take them on higher purchase. Then they're able to pay monthly the way the borders were doing. But now, if that initiative, take it from this point, if that initiative, the tuk-tuks, could be handled by Nakada, don't you think we could be talking another thing? If Nakada are the ones who are taken up that initiative of making sure they get these guys, give them jobs in terms of getting those tuk-tukus and getting into this business, I'm telling you, at the cost, we could be talking of crime in terms of drugs coming down. But now, these guys, they have nowhere to go. They wake up. When you ask a boy, anybody from the coast, you ask him, when you grow up, what do you like to be? He will tell you, I'd like to go to the beach, marry a German, an old mama, and you know, I can bounce. When you get into these hotels, you see a very small boy, the age of my son, 25 years, with a 60-old mama. They are bouncing on the beach. That's now what these guys are now believing in. This is what I want to grow up and what I want to be. Yes. So if these boys are not taken care of in terms of Nagada coming out with programs that can be able to kill this thing, I think we are revolving against one problem. What the coast guys have done, it will not work. That's all. It won't work, it won't help. That's all. Thank you.
Pretty much. Shiyuka, I know picked your sentiments on this one off camera, but then one way that we can judge whether the government is making the right steps in solving this particular issue, is to listen to what the coastal leaders are saying about this particular menace, because it's affecting, according to them, those particular regions. Notably, Aisha Juma has spoken on it.
Yeah, come again?
Aisha Juma is spoken on it. She said, we do not want it. Please ban it if you can. Our young people are getting affected by this thing called Muguka. How do you expect for the cabinet secretaries now and any leader within the Kenya Kwanza government to speak about this particular issue that has gotten the president's attention?
Thanks so much. I think it was immature for the cabinet secretary for culture, for art and culture, Honorable Aisha Juma, to pronounce herself on this matter, because she is bound by collective responsibility of the cabinet, and she cannot come out and singly, because she comes from the coast region,
yes,
to speak against a conversation that is being guided by law and science. So I think this issue, as my colleague has said from the panel,
yes,
that we need the guidance of the law that has the obligation to pronounce itself whether this Muguka is a plan or a trap. That's where the crux of the matter is.
Yes.
Because when we want to play politics with the lives of the people, with the livelihood of the people of Mount Kenya, who are farmers and who sell this thing, whose lives depend on this thing, and at the same time, the health of the people of Mombasa, because they are alleging that is completely dismembering the health of their people, then we are losing it. Because when at this stage, when we were politicizing this issue,
yes,
it's going to snowball out of proportion, and it's not going to be in the best interest of this nation. What I can just say is for the NACADA, the body that is mandated to give guidance on drugs, to come out and say with facts that this is the guidance, this is the law, that this Muguka is a drug, the substance is ABCD, so it is supposed to be banned. Or it is a drug that should be managed like ABCD. Because we are discussing about the life of the people. We are discussing about the livelihood of the people. And I think this body should guide this conversation moving forward.
Pretty much. Yeah. All right, gentlemen, if you can allow me, let's then move into the second part of our conversation this morning, which essentially touches on a key leader from the Mount Kenya region. And this has been trending for a couple of days now. And it's a good thing Shuka is here. He's be telling us whether we are reading the wrong signs from the smoke that has been to us. Good. And it's a story that has been covered on the Standard this morning. Sheila, if you can, please take us back to the Standard, because that's where headline comes from. I would like our audience to also share in what we are talking about this morning. It's a story that you're going to find on page 4 of the Standard this morning. It's talking about the battle for Mount Kenya rages on as the president's men take on Gachagua. And I'll read the preamble, that the emerging rift between President William Ruto and his deputy, Rigathi Gachagua, has grown more evident after leaders who have been dragged into the scheme continue to come out by engaging in more attacks against the DP. Good. Mercy. Here's the thing. You know, personally, and I'm not speaking as a journalist, personally, you would like to think that if your close confidant stands on a stage, correct, and tells your deputy president, and I will paraphrase, usilete ujinga, you would come out publicly as the president and say, hey, you know what, let's respect the deputy president. I mean, I know you're my boy, but no, I'm not allowed that. I mean, if you have your personal differences, solve them somewhere else, not on a stage where, number one, you're calling out my name immediately after you've told the deputy president Usilete Ujinga, because it goes on to say that well, the president has got his brain. You don't come with his brain. You don't speak for him here. Why is the president acutely silent about this war in Mount Kenya? Or is there a war, Mercy Evans?
Well, I'll begin by saying politics is perception. Generally, is what people are trying to see.
Yes.
And the events that have unfolded in a couple of weeks,
yes,
on the relation of the president and his deputy, we can't deny as Kenyans that we can see some friction.
Yes.
It is obvious there's friction. And when you see this happening, one thing Kenyans have had a problem with is they love denying. We are in the guilt of denial. We'll deny what we are saying happening, and we'll behave like it is not happening. It is true, and it is an honest point of view that the president is not very much in good books with his deputy. It could not be issues to do with how they are doing, they are conducting, running the administration, but it's all to do with the politics of their own arrangement. This is how it started with Uhuru Kenyatta and William RUTO back in 2018, early 2018. And again, what I'm witnessing, it is again starting. And actually for Uhuru Kenyatta and William RUTO, it began at the start of their second term.
Yes.
But for this one, it has begun in the earnest of the administration. Very interesting. However, when you look at those people who are trying to get into, I may call altercation, political altercation, and that is, I've never heard the president by himself calling names, the deputy president, or maybe engaging him on the issues in their backyard. Mm-hmm. But actually, it's the people within the Mount Kenya who are actually engaging the deputy president on some issues. Now, you can't rule out somebody like Dennis Itumbi. I don't think Dennis Itumbi has that authority to tell of the deputy president. I don't think Oscar Sudi is in a position to tell of a deputy president. I don't think, or any other person. So when you see them speaking, actually it will just be funny for you to imagine of how the authority maybe they'll be wielding. But the essence is, who are these people? Where are they coming from? And actually, if actually Itumbi goes on to attack the deputy president, actually the president can gauge Itumbi within no time. Mm-hmm. And actually, you can't even hear it anymore. But when you continue, when they continue that altercation, like I saw Itumbi throwing all other things and all of that, even a governor to the level of the COG chair, Madam Anne Waiguru, cannot just tell of the deputy president. I don't think. And so when you see, and when Anne Waiguru does that, is on board of a flight to the US with the president. So I think we would want to look at those cases in isolation. Like say maybe Oscar Sudi has his own issues, Itumbi, Anne Waiguru, Ndindi Nyoro has those issues personally with the deputy president. Mm-hmm. But if you look at it in a broader way, you definitely tell who is behind that. And actually, the logic is, it is not good. It's not rosy anymore. It is not rosy anymore.
Yes, Enoch, you know what? If one person does it, then it's that person who has a problem with the DP. Mm. But when all these leaders come in and say, well, you don't speak for the mountain, they've said it. Any other person who goes on to speak says, well, you don't speak for us. That you are the deputy president, just do that job. But when it comes to mountain issues, we are also there, so you don't speak for us. Oscar Sudi has been warning him on that. When you look at even communiques from Dennis Itumbi, from the likes of Anne Waiguru, Moses Kuria, who've gone on to say publicly that, hey, I disagree with that. You go tell him if he thinks that any other issue from the Mount region has to go through him, I disagree with that. Oscar Sudi comes close to abusing him. In fact, yesterday I was told that's an abuse. when somebody tells you usilete ujinga, that is somebody who puts you at a position lower than he is God, because he knows he's well covered.
Okay, a lot of things here come into play. Number one,
yes,
personally, I've had problems with the leadership qualities of the DP, in terms of the statements he makes, and whether he makes good statements at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as a leader, you need to make sure that once you're given that position, you have to make sure you mold yourself to that position. And I was in Nyeri over the weekend. I can tell you things are hot. Things are hot. And I think the DP has missed one point. You know, after he got this thing, he was supposed to make sure that he brings these guys together, try to find a way of how he'll maintain them. Yeah? As a leader, you try to maintain them. And then you move forward to what he keeps on talking every day, that I'm supporting the president, I'm supporting the president. You can't be supporting the president and yet on your backyard, things are burning.
Yes.
And that's why you find everybody is in arms. Everybody is in arms. In fact, I was surprised when gentleman told me, if Uhuru comes out of the blue moon right now, we all go there. In fact, what Uhuru will tell us is what determines, because we cannot be able to follow this gentleman. So I don't know what this guy did, but the fact is, on the ground, things are not good for him. He has to find a way of how he'll be able to live.
Yes.
Number two, in presidency in the term is good, my friend. It's like honey, man. So there are people who revolve around the president. Anywhere, Uganda, Ethiopia, people who are, they will what? Huh? Those guys who are near the president, people who drive the thing, people who pull shots. If you want to see the president, you have to see them.
You gotta sit through me.
Yes, these are the guys. My friend, do not make a mistake of crossing those guys. If there's anything that the deputy president has done that he needs to find of how he will redeem it, is bring up a war on Farouk, bring up a war on Oscar Sudi, bring up a war on, these are the guys who actually are in the presidential circle, people who make decisions there. You can't see them openly, but basically, they are the ones who tell the president, let's go here, let's go there, let's go there, and that's politically. So he needs to find a way of how he will redeem himself, because I can tell you, when you see Oscar Sudi talking in the way he talked, though sometimes we normally say going to school normally helps. If you go to university, sometimes some statements you make in public telling a leader that some things you just calm down, because a leader, you are told, even if somebody abuses you in a public place, the best leadership qualities you don't retaliate.
Yes.
In fact, you assume like nothing has happened, and you talk other issues. So when you find Oscar Sudi coming up and talking so hardened, I saw him saying about, people think I don't go to parliament. Yes, I don't go to parliament. I go around looking for my own money, and if you have no money, come, I give you money. You know, when somebody telling the president like that, that tells you the guy has told you, my friend, we are not feeling you.
Yeah.
We are not feeling you. We are in the kitchen, but we are not feeling you. So now that tells you, if you are a leader, my friend, you have to change your tactic. Otherwise, I can tell you, this guy will be downloaded like yesterday. What do I mean? It's only by good luck that our constitution does not allow the president to download deputy president. It does not allow that. But if it was there, I can tell you, Kashawa could have been downloaded yesterday. Because when you pick wars with the people who are close to the head of state, you are creating a problem for yourself. So you have to find out, you weigh, you monitor, you evaluate. Yeah. The decision you have to make, what you have to talk. But when you start talking so uncouth before people, and you want to say because you are the deputy president, I can assure you, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. Things will get worse. Thank you.
Sheyuka, you know, every time I've spoken about you, this issue, you've gone round and round it. You really do not want to state exactly what's happening within the party. Here's the thing. So probably, maybe, and hopefully this morning, you'll be telling us exactly what is the true feeling of the second man in command. First, as a president, why is RUTO not defending the DP? It's not like that, but he's facing a lot of attacks from within the party, from his close confidant, even in the likes of Oscar Sudi. When they come out and they tell the president, "Stulete ujinga, come, we give you money if you don't have money." Why can't the president come in and say, "Hey guys, it's not good"? Could you help us understand why he's not coming out to defend him? I should add that had they been doing that with the president, the DP would have come in to defend the president. We've seen him do it before.
What I want to say is this.
Yes.
I don't see why the president, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya, who is the party leader of UDA, and the principal, the senior most principal in the Kenya Kwanza administration, should come to the defense of the Deputy President, His Excellency Honorable Gachagua.
He's under attack.
If the only thing that I can say, and this one I'll put it as an advice to His Excellency the Deputy President, that the Deputy President should, number one, know that he is above the regional politics of him fighting to be a kingpin. The position of a Deputy President put him above the pedestal of being a kingpin. And therefore, these fights is finding himself into is because he's retreating back to his region to want to be a kingpin. If he's already a Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, why should he go back and start fighting or maybe engaging in the people who want to be regional kingpins?
Yes.
Number two, he should stop responding to unnecessary altercations. If, for example, he should tackle national politics. He should tackle national politics and assist His Excellency the President with the implementation of the manifesto on which they were jointly elected. The reason why he seems to be being fought is because also his pronouncements as the Deputy President, and I'll be very candid on this. You do not look like you are also trying to come up with your own cartels to attack people in your presence. For example, what the governor for Nyeri said in the church in the presence of His Excellency the Deputy President was not good for the cohesion of this country as a position of the Deputy President. When he said, "Kama mbaya ni mbaya," the Deputy President should know that his number one responsibility is to put Kenya first, to assist His Excellency the President to make people from all the regions come together so that they can be served as a unit, as a Kenya. But when he's coming back to the region of Mount Kenya, which is not bad, but him already is already the Deputy President, then he's trying to make himself look like a tribal leader that was not supposed to be the Deputy President. So, by saying that also, he should not stop any leader in this Republic of Kenya from going wherever he wants to go to do development. So, to me, for him to say that he's stopping other leaders from going maybe to development projects is unnecessary and called for, and that is painting him in a bad picture. So to me, the Deputy President should be advised that he should concentrate on assisting the President to implement the Kenya Kwanza manifesto as his principal assistant. Number two, the Deputy President should understand that he's not a principal in the Kenya Kwanza government.
What is it, Shayuk?
He's not a principal in the Kenya Kwanza government.
What is it?
He's the Deputy President. He's a Deputy President.
Hold on, but he's the top ranking the official within the Kenya Kwanza government?
No, the top ranking official in the Kenya Kwanza government is His Excellency the President.
Who's the second?
you know, Kenya Kwanza is a coalition. Kenya Kwanza is a
Shiuka,
coalition.
hold on.
No, let me finish.
Hold on.
Kenya Kwanza is a
Hold on.
coalition.
Shiuka, hold on. I mean, in that hierarchy
Yes,
is what I'm trying to understand within the Kenya Kwanza coalition, if they want to put it like that. I mean, we're seeing the president. Who's the second?
You know, the UDA party is the principal party in the Kenya Kwanza, in the Kenya Kwanza coalition. Okay?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Kenya Kwanza coalition consists of 3 parties that came up and formed the Kenya Kwanza coalition.
Does it?
This is the UDA, the Amani National Congress, and the Fort Kenya. Those are the 3 parties that formed the Kenya Kwanza coalition. The other parties were invited in the coalition later on. You get me? And these three parties and the others have their principles on the table. On the table. So when they sit on the table to discuss coalition matters, the president, His Excellency the President, sit there as the main principal in the coalition, as the party leader of the UDA.
But it's also clear that the majority party within that coalition is UDA.
Of course.
A party where he comes from as well.
That is it.
Doesn't that make him also now the second ranking then? In terms of his popularity, number one, and the virtue that it comes from the majority party within that coalition.
No. when you come on the table, the principles sit on the table. The principles sit on the table.
Yes.
So when it comes to principles in the Kenya Kwanza coalition, the most foremost principle is His Excellency the President, who is the party leader of the UDA.
There has to be a second, Shiuka. There can't be the president and the rest of you.
I'm not talking about the UDA party.
Does that?
I'm talking about the Kenya Kwanza coalition.
That's
the
fine.
Kenya Kwanza coalition.
That's fine, Shiuka.
We should not overlook that we have got other principles in the Kenya Kwanza coalition. That's why it is a Kenya Kwanza coalition, which we have the principle who is His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya,
in the event
representing the UDA party.
That's all right.
You know, he cheers.
That's it.
And he implements the manifesto of the government from the party position.
That's it.
You get me? And the deputy president is his principal assistant.
That's it.
So in the absence of the principal, who is the president, then the deputy president takes over on delegated duties.
That's it.
So on delegated duties, he's not a principal.
Shiuka,
yes.
You see how you...
But he acts on delegated responsibility.
Hold on. Why can't you call him the second within that coalition? Just make that clear. Because that has been the problem as well, even from the mountain region. His support is saying, we do not understand why you're not calling him the second.
Let me say this.
Yes.
This is where maybe people are not getting their point. That maybe the people are mixing to understand the difference between the Kenya Kwanza coalition and the UDA party. Because the UDA party is the principal party in the Kenya Kwanza coalition.
Which is a member.
Which is a member.
That's it.
And the deputy president is the deputy principal in the UDA party.
That's it.
You get me?
That's it. And the majority...
But he is not the deputy principal in the Kenya Kwanza coalition.
But also the UDA party is the majority party within this coalition, isn't it?
Yes.
So that by merit, it makes him the second.
No. That's where I don't agree with you. I don't agree with you because when people sit on the table as principals of Kenya Kwanza, the president sits there as the foremost because he's the president of the Republic of Kenya, who was the flag bearer of the coalition, Kenya Kwanza coalition.
And everybody agrees
and
with
he sits there as the party leader of the UDA party. UDA party, which is the principal party in the coalition. Okay? But don't forget that this is a coalition and other parties have got principles on this table. And the deputy president represents the president on delegated duties. I think that should be made clear.
Ask the question. Please take over. I can get information from Shiuka this morning. Please go right ahead. Ask this question.
Where was the DB at the airport when the president was coming? Where was he? Because naturally, he's supposed to welcome the president.
That's it. What was it? What was the issue?
Because now we are talking about he's the deputy coalition leader. Or let me say he's the one who stands in when the president is away. But now we are saying,
according to Muguka.
Yes, at the airport, this guy is nowhere to be seen.
What was it when he was coming back?
To be seen. Then I saw a statement where he was saying he had gone to pray on the mountain.
Yeah.
He had gone to pray on the mountain for God to help him. So we're just wondering, do you go to pray in the forest? Do you go to pray in the church? These are things that, Kenyans are wondering.
Chinyuka, I've always had a problem with you when you're really trying to explain to us the dynamics of you not fully recognizing DP Gachagua as the second in command, either within the party or within the coalition. Yes, before I cross over to Mercy, please take a minute. Yes.
Political power is never pronounced. Political power is wielded.
But there's
according to how you conduct yourself.
Fine, but there's a hierarchy within
the
the
deputy
party.
president,
yes,
with due respect, is my boss. With due respect, I think he should avoid making certain utterances and engaging what I can call junior politicians from the mountain. So when he engages them, he's reducing himself to a kingpin. That means when you are holding to a position of the deputy vice president of the Republic of Kenya, you are supposed to carry yourself to that level of a statesman, of a person who is above parochial and tribal politics. That is how the deputy president should drive himself. And he should avoid fighting unnecessary wars, looking who is going where and who is giving which money. No, everybody is ambitious. And they normally say that if you are not ambitious, then you have got no business being a politician. So the other politicians from Mount Kenya, they have a political right, and are democratic for that matter, to even want to replace him. Because that's why people are in politics. But for him, he should play above them at this level, because he is the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya. He should assist His Excellency the President to bring this country together, and he should avoid playing tribal politics.
Here's the thing. Yes, Enoch.
But now, when the same deputy president stands in a function in Rift Valley and openly tells people, hapa kuna problem hapa tu. There are some boys here who are coming into my turf, trying to groom other leaders. You heard him saying that?
Does it?
Yes, trying to groom other leaders. Please, can you tell these boys to keep off? Of course, he was talking about Sudi, he was talking about Farouk, Nyoro, and all these guys. Now, the question is this. If it is happening, then that tells you somebody is not in charge. Somebody is not in charge. Somebody is not in charge. He is not in charge of the team. He is not in charge of Mount Kenya. As much as he wants to say is the kingpin, he's not.
Yeah.
And now the thing gets more complicated when you see the president coming at the airport and being received by the Ministry for Interior. I mean, you look at it and then you ask yourself questions. I think somewhere along the line, that's why these boys are making noise. They can now see this guy has been removed some of these automatic positions that he holds as the deputy president. So they are trying to remove them. That at the end of the day, this guy is powerless. I think that's what is happening. And I think where I stand, as my colleague has said, I think the deputy president. He still has that DO type of, the colonial type of the leadership where you want to muscle people behind you. And the leadership of today, there is no room for muscling. I can assure you, there is no room for muscling. You have to go down, talk to people, make sure that people believe in you, people understand you. And that's why you find, for example, why I say that I went to Nyeri and people are telling me, honestly, if Uhuru comes here and Gachagua comes here, you will see a very big difference. People will go to where Uhuru is. Simply because Uhuru is down to earth. Uhuru is, there's a way they now respect Uhuru in terms of the way he delivers his information. Now, I think, as my colleague has said, the deputy president must go down, rethink, evaluate on how he makes statements as the deputy president. I think that has been one of the undoing that he's doing, and that's where he's in shit.
Pretty much. Yeah. Here's the thing, Mercy Evans. I mean, I hear Enoch and Chiuka try and understand where the problem is. It looks as if from the get-go that regardless of what Rigathi Gachagua would do, it won't change the status quo, that indeed you are here for this time. Next time out, you don't have a chance in it. That what would he change? What would he change if he changed his entire demeanor? And are we reading too much by him missing from the airport again when the president was coming back? Are those the cracks in the eyes that we need to look at, Mercy Evans, this morning?
Firstly, I'd want to sympathize a lot with the Deputy President in the state of things and the situations, what is going on right now. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua shot himself in the foot back in September 2022. Immediately, the administration got into power. The way he positioned himself shortly after taking power, and that has been his demeanor and his style of doing things, actually, it projected him as more limited in terms of the charisma. Being a deputy president, you need to project a demeanor of the entire Kenya. You are next to the president, you are the deputy principal, you are the assistant principal to the president. Yeah, in fact, elsewhere, a deputy president is just a president in waiting. Yeah. So the way he fashioned himself from September 2022, actually it is actually one of the big undoings of his current situation. When he began that narrative of the shareholding, then he went down to the issues of the mitego, the traps at State House, and all that. And now he has gone down now to the 1 shilling, 1 person, and then 1 vote. I think that is what has even diminished his stature in the public eye. And that is why you realize, as Shuk has put it, even his kinsmen within his even own region, they feel he's not up to the task. That's why you'll see them actually come up and they want to challenge him. At one time, when even Ndindi Nyoro tried to move around and posture like this out, you even saw the entire community, actually, the region, could go around Gachagua, and actually Ndindi Nyoro was like cut down to size. But again, shortly after that, now you see Moses Kuria is there, Waiguru is there, and especially now when the president actually had an event with the women, I think it was to mark the International Women's Day, and he talked about one of the aspirations of the UDA and the Kenya Kwanza is to ensure we've upheld the 1/3 gender rule. And it is my wish that even Kenya Kwanza can have a deputy president. If I am a man as the president, then it could be the deputy president, could be a woman. Actually, it didn't go down well with Gachagua. And actually it was pointing out to some of his style. I think the deputy president has a problem with his style. Why go to Uasin Gishu in Kapseret constituency, where is the very home of Oscar Sudi? He could leave the issue of discussing those politics around the could be the friction to Kina James Kakuya to talk about it, Kina Keti Waiguru to talk about it, and all that. But he himself, when he took to the podium, he couldn't even have gone into that sort of discussion. So by going to Uasin Gishu and in Kapseret and want to discuss about Oscar Sudi, that's why when he left Kapseret, the following day, Oscar Sudi is attacking him. And actually, when you look at the public eye, people already understand who Oscar Sudi is, but now people blame the deputy president for taking war to somebody like Oscar Sudi, or you want to get a debate with Oscar Sudi on that level. Now, when it comes to even the hierarchy of UDA, I think Shuka will remind us, will help us there, we understand. Recently, when we had this glamour to have the grassroots election, there was a clause, a provision within that constitution where it had disconnected, I think, 2 or 3 deputy party leaders. That clause was, I think, was done away with, and then they actually came up with one deputy party leader. That clause of 3 deputy party leaders had actually raised a lot of eyebrows on the side and the orbit around Deputy President Gachagua, because there was a feeling now that the president was inviting these other coalition partners to fold their parties and join in. So it was like these 3 positions, if Gachagua goes with one, then the other 2 can maybe go to the other senior most partners within the coalition. And actually it brought a lot of heat. And that level, I think when the president sat with the neck of the party to truncate or to remove that kind of a provision and remain with one, actually to me the president was, in other words, just laughing to Gachagua. That I can give you this position, but still there is a lot for you to prove that you are a leader of a certain level of charisma to be able to fit into this leadership of mine. So I think what the president has done is exposing the deputy president even more. Looking even at his arrival from the US, when you see Kindiki is there, and you know where Kindiki came from. Actually, it is even believed it was Kindiki's job. Yeah. So when Kindiki actually appears to be the person receiving the president, as Enoch knows, understands the security protocols of the president and all that, actually tells you a lot. Where was the deputy president? Actually, honestly. Or was he still in the hills doing the fasting and the praying and cooking?
Knowing very well the time.
It is very interesting. So he need to fashion up himself from the kind of a leader he was from 2013. Then 2023 September, then he needs to fashion himself as a national leader, not a Mount Kenya leader. And that's why if he continues to fashion himself as a Mount Kenya leader, in fact, he has more trouble to come.
Pretty much. Here's the thing. Shuka, it looks as if, just like Mercy Evans is painting it, like the history of Rigathi Gachagua sent it to this particular position. You might have not said it as a party, Shuyuka, but that meeting that saw Kindiki leave and swear not to return to politics, I said I'm taking a break from politics, must have been quite an emotive meeting. And it appears now, regardless of what Rigathi Gachagua does, this is his fight, not the fight of the party. Is that what it is? That the decision has been made somewhere that it's not you, regardless of what you do. Because you would expect that somebody somewhere will come to the defense of one Rigathi Gachagua, other than some leaders within the mountain region.
I do not want to go into the details of some meetings.
Yes, you can.
that were made.
Yes, you can.
On a public.
Yes, you can.
On a public. But what I want just to say is,
yes.
His Excellency, the Deputy President, was given an opportunity with His Excellency the President to deliver on their mandate and implement the manifesto. And his mandate, the President, I don't think the President should be the one now coming on the publicly to say, I'm defending my Deputy President. I think the Deputy President should understand his role as the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. That is the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, and he has to discharge his mandate as such to assist the President to implement the Kenya Kwanza Manifesto, the plan. And he should behave like a principal assistant and not as a principal. And then he should avoid, exchanging with the with the junior politicians who also wants to be relevant in politics. For example, on a personal level, I don't think I support the issue of the Deputy President saying that a leader should not go beyond their jurisdictions for development matters. I think that one, I don't support that.
Yes.
And he should avoid.
Are you part of the problem within the party?
Myself?
Yes. That every time you have an opportunity to speak, instead of supporting him, you're correcting him. And that's the picture that is in the public domain. What is he saying? It should be like this, it should be like this. And the people from the mountain, a section of his supporters are saying, that's not good. Support him, recognize him as a second in command. But you are from within the party.
Yes.
But here you are, Shiuka, saying, stop that. We don't like it.
No, I'm not saying that we stop the deputy president, but I'm saying that he is above regional politics.
But who are we to correct the deputy president on issues that may want to pick by himself? I mean, if I've got a problem,
but that is what is now bringing him into.
If I've got a problem with a certain leader, the deputy president, I'm a politician, I've got the right to address it. But every time he does that, people say, "Well, that is not presidential. That is not presidential." Did you? Yes, about yes. Yes.
This is how it works, huh?
Yes.
Before the president comes here, if he's coming here, already there are a lot of things that fall into play. Number one, the guys who write his speech will have to focus on what is coming to do. And they make sure that they tell him this is what you will read, and this is what you will speak.
Does it?
Are you getting me?
Yes.
This is what you will read from the script. But of the script, this is what you will speak to the people. 1, 2, 3. Now, that information comes from NSIS. That information comes from his security. People who are with the president and give the president the right information at the right time.
Yes.
So now, when it comes to our deputy president, I think this guy, when he wakes up, he just wakes up like that. Like that. And he has all the machinery. He has a whole department of deputy presidential press unit. A whole department with more than 10 people. These are the guys who are supposed to be advising. He has NSIS guys who work with him. He has CID guys who work with him. He has presidential escort guys who work with him. He has people who go advance before he goes he arrives at a place. So that office, you don't work alone. You work with people. Or they guide you on what to speak, when to speak, how to speak. And you must even be taken to a classroom. They tell you now, can you talk to people now? Yeah. How do you know, for example, people asking me, when the president being the commander-in-chief, he knows how to march. How does he know how to march? Yeah. You remember when Kibaki tried doing it, it was very difficult for him even to move with the band. Yes. This is something that is taken through behind the scenes. Nyuma ya curtain. Yeah. Is shown this is how you are supposed to do, what have you.
Yes.
And there is always a rehearsal on what is supposed to be done, where the president and the deputy president is. So I don't think there is anything as far as deputy president is concerned. He's refusing to learn, and he wants to do it the DO way, or let me say the Vasco da Gama used to do things. And now he's forgetting that now he's in a new generation that requires you tell them what is current. It's a new generation that requires you speak what is current, and you really live by this generation. And that's the problem with him. He just wakes up and he can speak anything, and that's why he has been going in loggerheads with so many people. Anytime, in fact, to me, anytime I see the deputy president, I switch off the TV, because I don't know what the guy will say. What the guy will say. Yeah, he can say anything. He can say anything dirty.
That's it.
Not looking at what my colleague has said.
Yes.
You are the deputy president, man. You are not a local leader. You are the deputy president. So what you must speak must reflect national ethics, national politics, national leadership. Let people see that this is a leader. Yeah, this is what is coming from a leader. But when you wake up and you just speak as if you are talking to people in Nyeri, you are speaking to people in Mugurueni or Nanyuki, then you realize, kumbe I'm in Kakamega, or I'm in, then that becomes a problem in leadership. So I think the deputy president needs to reflect this time for him to change. This time, but he needs to make use of these guys who've been deployed to his department. I think he has got media guys. They need to take him through media lessons. Tell them, guy, when you get into the public, please avoid confrontational politics. Avoid discussing about personalities. Yeah. Avoid talking about people coming to your turf. I mean, that should come from a deputy president. I mean, let them come. Discuss about other issues that people want to hear, and if he changes that direction, I'm very sure in the next 6 months people will start having a different mentality about the deputy president. But if he doesn't, I can assure you, if he doesn't, this is going to work against him politically.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Take 45 seconds because I would like for Shuka to clear his time. Why is the president not defending him? 45 seconds.
Ethically, I don't think you must defend him. So you are given a position. You've been given terms of reference. You know what you are supposed to do.
Remove yourself from that, from the ethics of it. If you and I are best friends, and I'm here telling off the deputy president, as a man who's given me that job, I mean, I expect that ethically then, you come in and say, hey, take it a bit slow. You can't do that. What Oscar Sudi did was a talk down, was a dress down of the deputy president.
That tells you, from where I sit as a security person, there was a discussion about him in a different quarter with the head of state. Period.
If that is true then, why can't you tell him the truth that we do not need you in 2027? You've got to ship out.
No. I don't think at this level, because you know politics.
Shuka, it's right there.
you know.
Take 2 minutes. I like
to go there.
Yes.
But as I told you, even within Kenya Kwanza, the succession politics is started in earnest.
On that position?
Not on that position. Not on that position, because we want to go into the second term as a unit. And we need to respect everybody that played a role in delivering the victory of Kenya Kwanza.
How important is Rigathi Gachagua in you getting the second term, Shiv?
No, he's important. We cannot push him away. The deputy president is important. He'll play a very big role, and we still need him to deputize the president.
But then you said
in the second term.
Good. But then you said that when it came to getting the votes of the Mount Kenya region, they didn't vote for Rigathi Gachagua, that the president went there himself to ask for their vote.
Let me tell you this. I think it would be not right for us to recognize one person for having delivered the Mount Kenya votes. I don't think I'll be part of that. I myself, I was in the campaign, and I can say without blinking that all the leaders in the Mount Kenya played a role in delivering the Mount Kenya votes. So we cannot say that only one person played a major role. You remember, the hustler narrative
in other words,
started long time ago.
In other words, Shuka, we might not need you. We might need you, we might not need you.
Come again?
That indeed for 2027, we might need you, we might not need you.
That one, I don't think I'm in a position to say it now, but that is the prerogative of the president.
When you say that, well, it's not just you, the rest of us did that campaign. So it's fine. Are you confident that indeed you can deliver the 2027 vote without Rigathi Gachagua on the ticket?
No.
He has to be there.
Rigathi Gachagua, he has to be there. We have to move as a unit for us to go for the second term.
Pretty much. Mass Evans. Here's the thing. Regardless of what Rigathi Gachagua does right now, it looks as if the conversation of his replacement started a long time ago. So he's got to find a way, probably even using the finance bill conversations, to be relevant. As it is, nobody's defending him. And it's funny how people from even Mount Kenya region, a part of them are fighting the money.
Well,
by the 1 minute.
If we look at the dynamics of the politics of the day, is the deputy president has forgotten one thing.
Yes.
The dynamics of the 2022 election.
Yes.
And shortly after that, must have really changed. That's one thing he seems to appear like he's not alive to. And going forward, until he realizes that actually there's a lot that has changed between September 2022 and right now, and even going to 2027, that's why he'll continue having or facing those challenges he's facing politically.
Yes.
You realize, as at 2022, the UDA house, or the Kenya Kwanza house, was very small by then. But right now it has grown.
Does it?
And it will continue growing. Shuka will bear with me a test that actually the coalition has continued to grow, and more other people have joined in. Yeah, and so the deputy president still lives in the 2022 time, and that one actually is actually when others, the rest of his team within the Kenya Kwanza, including the president, have already, they're moving with the times. He's still stuck in that kind of arrangement of 2022, where he believes actually you still have that room and all that. Right now, more other people have come in. And no sooner he realizes that, I think if he doesn't realize that, then most likely he'll be left exposed a lot politically.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so he needs to fashion himself and actually ensure that actually, as we head into 2027, which kind of person and leader is he trying to project himself in the public? If we continue to get stuck in the 2022 mantra, I think he'll likely have a lot of problems, I tell you.
Pretty much.
But we're better leaders.
Yes. Yes, 15 seconds. Makanga.
We're better leaders in Kenya. There's that narrative that we used to have. When President Moi used to tell people that he has not found a replacement.
Yes.
I mean, the issue is leadership, there's no vacuum.
That's it.
Yes, so I know what the president will do is political risk assessment.
That's it.
If he realizes that onboarding, having DP on board makes him vulnerable 2027, he has to make a decision, either when Anna Waikuru or any other person comes on board and we are able to fire. Because what it's about, you look at the front and see the risk analysis and find out that whoever you have as number 2, 1 will add bonga points on your bottom line.
That's it.
Yes.
Pretty much. Guess what? I'll leave that conversation to continue line. Maybe next time Shuka comes in, he'll be telling us, okay, now let me tell you the truth. This is what the party is talking about. Probably we'll be knowing exactly how to best this conversation. It keeps on running around this particular issue. By the way, even to the point of saying, well, is he number 2? Shiuka says, well, you got to look at it from the bigger picture on the party and the coalition. Anyway, we leave it right there. Take this gentleman back to the time that they joined us right here on Lookuptv studios and Lookuptv across all your social media platforms. I am at Kenya Guessing, but tomorrow is a good time for us to do this all over again. Goodbye. See ya.
We value your feedback and welcome your complaints about our programming and operations. Feel free to get in touch with us through 0700 893 542 or send us an email to info@lookuptv.co.ke.